1. Hello, Crisis Actors, and welcome to episode 605 of Pop Culture Crisis. I am not Brett. I am Kellen. I'm guest hosting for today, tomorrow, and Wednesday as Brett gallivants down the red carpet. True story, by the way, for a special opportunity. Maybe we'll touch base on that later. But today we're going to have an action-packed episode. As you guys know, on Saturday, it was Star Wars Day, May the 4th. And I don't know when it started, but for the last, I'd say, decade or so, May 4th, as in May the Force be with you, has been kind of known as Star Wars Day. And this year was just a particularly cringy year. And we'll get into that. We're also going to talk about the rap game of Hollywood and Canada, I guess, as Drake and Kendrick Lamar, their beef is just mainstream media now. It started off, if you're into rap, you saw it going on, and now it's just everywhere. So we'll touch on that. And then the other story we're going to talk about is Tom Brady. Yes, the All-American hero who got absolutely roasted in one of the one of the craziest roasts I've seen in a while, and makes me think that comedy is back. Maybe this is like the pivotal moment that we'll look back and be like, okay, as they say, we are so back. So we'll get into all those stories. Today, I'm joined by two wonderful people. To my left is the wonderful, the long-anticipated, got many requests to be on the show, Serge. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name is Serge. I work on Timcast IRL. I'm the producer of the show, and I am here to talk about pedophiles in music.
That was one of the longest intros I think you've had in probably a month or two.
Yeah, for sure. Like so on the podcast in this case,
Yeah, and then to my right, returning as always, the fan favorite, Phil Labonte.
Fan favorite. Hello, everybody. My name is Phil Labonte. I'm the lead singer of a heavy metal band, All That Remains. Let's go.
Easy peasy. Okay, so to jump into it, as we go through these like rapid fire stories, the first thing we're going to do, this one's especially for you, Serge. We're going to talk about an article from the Daily Mail. Okay, so we have this here: how furry convention descended into an orgy of sex, violence, and destruction as diaper-clad adults dressed as cuddly animals trashed host hotel. So this event is called Rainforest, not Forest.
Oh, I know about Rainforest.
Rainforest 2015 began in September 12. Oh, is that right? Began in 2015, and it runs for 4 days. All right, so we got some photos here. I'm not going to get too into the weeds with like what this event does, but just know it's a large gathering of so-called furries, and they come together and have a wild time. It's a contentious issue. I know, Serge. Yeah. Phil's got his. It's so gross. Serge, I knew you've definitely made your opinions on the furries known.
Yeah.
But now it's like Daily Mail's picked it up. They're addressing it. We saw an article a few months ago about, Joe Rogan's talked about how one of his daughter, they say they have like cat litter boxes in schools. We're talking about a bunch of kids that walked out of their school in protest of the school just letting furries go.
I have heard stories of that in so I have two nephews. They're not young kids, they're teenage guys, and they both told me a story about the school over on the other side of town. And I hear that regularly, but it's always the school on the other side of town. I haven't had any verifiable, except for, I believe, that one story that just came out of Utah recently.
Yeah, that's right.
I think it was a couple weeks ago. I think that was actually verified. That's the first time I've heard of a actually happening. Now, obviously, it should be obvious. This is insane. Absolutely, completely insane. Human beings do not need litter boxes. Yeah. This is insane. Completely insane.
So we have a super chat from Francisco Sanchez Jr. says Star Wars is 2 movies and an epilogue with Ewoks. Boys.
Boys.
So this event
is this the most recent one? You're saying the most recent one now?
This just happened. Yeah. This article came out on Sunday. So it came out yesterday. They're saying things only worsened after the floor was filled with toilet water.
Oh my God!
Drinks and drugs that eventually gave way to destruction. Someone defecated in a pool. A hot tub was flooded. People are shoving towels into the pump, filling it like
Wow,
Dude,
furries are the most degenerate people I've ever
That's
met
what
in
I'm
my
saying,
life.
like,
In my
let
personal
alone
opinion,
Zero redeeming
I met them.
value.
It's like, so the event was a degenerate mess and that fell apart and everything failed in almost every conceivable way. Wow, I am literally not shocked at all. Like, that's what rainforest is.
Zero redeeming value.
I've never heard of
man.
rainforest.
All this furry stuff. It's like, dude, you can do whatever you want in the comfort of your own home. You can do I have no problem with you doing, like, do you do you? It's okay. But
Hold on, Hippie Soul in the chat just said they have a litter box in Ludlow, Massachusetts. Are you serious? Because that is the town.
Yeah, that's crazy.
My nephew's like, I'm from Chicopee. Like,
and is that where the protest, the walkout happened? Was that?
no, that's in Utah.
that was in Utah.
This is Ludlow, Massachusetts. This is where Mike Martin grew up, our guitar player. This is the town that borders the town that I grew up
You're
in,
gonna-
borders the town that my nephews used to go to school
Right.
You're
in.
gonna have to keep an eye on your guitar player. Just saying, if he starts showing up with
Well, he's got a baby, and this kid is probably going to go to these schools.
Yeah.
You know,
and even if it was like a troll by these kids that walked out in Utah,
No,
whether or
what's the
not
chance of that,
they
dude?
trolled or whether or not it was they still walked out and were still upset with the idea
Right,
of furry.
yeah,
So
yeah.
whether or not the school was like,
Because they also point out it's okay. They do these. They've done tests on animals when with equality, right? They're saying if you do this. They even do stuff where a mice will say that another mouse across the glass will get food for pushes the button, and a mouse will push it for testing for altruism, right? So in this case, these kids are protesting unfair treatment. It's a basic human, basic animal thing, saying like, this is not fair. They can recognize that these kids that are saying they're trans and they're furry or whatever are being.
it's an attention thing.
It's but I'm saying they're being promoted. They're being what's the word? It's just affirmative action for them. They can do whatever they want. Those kids in the video, in the Utah video, point out they can do whatever they want. They can say whatever they want. They don't get in trouble. They can throw tantrums in the hallways.
This is because
they're pointing it out.
This is because the or not the parents, but the teachers in the schools have no ability to deal with it. They have no way because they don't know what to do. They don't have the ability to turn kids to tell kids no, because kids will throw a fit and they can't do anything about a kid throwing a fit there because they can't. I assume it's because they can't kick kids out,
Right.
or at least. But if they can't,
Yeah.
if you can't effectively discipline kids, and I'm not saying that they should be able to hit them or whatever, but if you can't effectively discipline kids, and the parents are not standing behind the schools when the schools say, because if I understand correctly, a lot of the problem is nowadays is parents come in and say my kids didn't do anything wrong, because that's the inclination for people.
Hey, Phil, this
protective.
super chat's
Yeah,
for you.
exactly.
Greg Duvier says, Phil, next time you don't release a badass song on leg day, I could not walk at all this weekend. Also,
Thank you so
Divine
much.
and
Appreciate it.
podcasts were the only thing I listened to all weekend.
I appreciate it so much.
So
Thank you
there
very
is
much.
a video from 2015 to give you the idea of
man.
what. If you don't know what furries are at this point, I'm honestly
Keep in mind,
impressed.
this is 9
but
years
if you
ago.
do,
It's so much worse
It's
now.
only worse.
And the thing is, everyone always saying that, oh, like this stuff is not a sexual fetish, and then you hear that the entire thing just set into an
Yeah.
orgy about this. I'm like, dude,
It's a lie.
I'm sorry, like you can do this again, but let's not lie about this. Let's not have furry hour for like
Well, listen,
it's a sexual fetish.
if there was
I
some kind of,
understand.
like,
That's fine.
WWE,
Don't-
like-
we're not normalizing this.
if there was like a
Sorry.
cage match where they
not.
just threw in 10 of these furries, I might watch it.
I'd pay for that.
But then again, they probably would just start pooping on the floor.
They would all start having sex with each other because they're
would not
all
fight.
bisexual. There's not one of them that will turn another down, because that would be
This
rude.
video is 20 minutes long.
Okay. Look, and I understand there are some people that are probably have mental illnesses. What a shock when I say that when I'm looking at the video footage of this. They probably have mental illnesses that are underlying, or they're just nerd out on this stuff and
I think
they're into
someone
costume
said-
design. But the percentage of those people is minuscule compared to the
Well,
people
I was
going
going to say, yeah, the small percentage of the people that realize there's no consequences and they're just saying, like, how far can we push the envelope? How
Yeah.
much can we get away
And
with?
it's like the adults are acting like kids won't push the envelope just
fun to them.
just because, just to do it. Like
Yeah.
kids do that. Like kids do that all the time. And so if you just allow them to push, they're going to, and you will get to absurdities like litter boxes in the bathroom.
Crazy.
Like
Well,
to
who was
think
that
that, like
singer?
if you said that 5 years ago, people would say that will never happen. You're crazy. Like they would be like, that will never happen because we are blah blah blah, and they would come up with all kinds of excuses. There is nothing that will never happen. The only limits are reality.
Right.
Like there is no limit as to what people will accept and try. We used to sacrifice human beings to make sure the sun kept coming up. We're not significantly different.
Right.
We aren't. As much as people will swear up and down that we are,
You're right.
human beings are not significantly different than we were 200 or 300 years ago, or 500 years ago when they were still regularly
What's
sacrificing
insane to
people.
me is these suits they're expensive, like the full thing. So I want to know, like,
No, there's a famous video.
how are the kids affording it? Are parents buying this for the kids?
There was a TikTok video of this guy. He posted a video where he
OnlyFans.
Yeah, exactly. No, literally.
Awfully, yes. It's terrible,
This guy,
yes.
he confronts his I guess his fiance or soon to be wife about spending like $15,000 on the joint bank account. And she says, "Where'd the $15,000 go?" And she goes, "Oh," and she's wearing like a fursuit thing. She's like, "Oh, well, I need to buy new fursuit." She's like, so, and then she explains essentially she spent $15K on the suit, and he's like, "What the hell? Like, I'm trying to buy a house. This is for a down payment on our house. We need to make this money. Like, what are you doing?" And she's like, "Well, I want to buy something nice for myself." And it's like such an incredible statement. Meanwhile, she's standing in front of like Ring cameras and stuff like that, and just Ring lights and cameras. She's clearly filming content for OnlyFans, and her justification is like she wants something nice for herself. Like it's I don't know. It's just delusional. It just points to the character of people
so
that are
if
doing
it's
this
not
stuff.
mental health all the time, then why are people like rejecting who they are as humans? So, like, you know what I mean? So if it's like, obviously some people are mentally ill and whether it's furries or other dangerous behaviors, they find something to engage in. But if it's not that, what's causing this like complete, denial and rejection of just being your own person? I mean, we see this with like,
they see it.
We see this with like the neo pronouns, where like
Yeah.
people will invent like clown and clown self just because they need their own pronouns. Like, not even the other new pronouns are good enough for them. They have to
Pokemonification,
create new ones for themselves. So maybe that's mental health, problems and stuff. I don't know, but
There's also a phenomenon that I notice with some people that like there are some people that always say not me, right? So like you'd be like, look, if you go to the gym regularly and you eat right and you do cardio every day, you'll lose weight. And then there are some percentage of the people that will say, not me, because I am different. I have blah, blah, blah. I am blah, blah, blah.
Right.
People do that regularly.
syndrome. Yeah.
So,
well, like even us though, like what I don't understand is that you've got three different people right here sitting at this table. We all listen to different music, right? But none of it, like, it's our personality. Like those differences, like they satisfy me. I don't need to push the envelope further, and I'm just having trouble understand it. Maybe I won't understand it, and that's why I'm not a furry myself. Like,
I think that there's someone in the chat said that it's a proxy for bestiality, which that probably
it's like a
has
more
something to do with
socially
it.
accepted form of it or something.
Well, the thing is, they can. I almost imagine it's like if it is a proxy for bestiality, they're basically walking around kind of doing foreplay when they're wearing that stuff.
Yeah, it's all
what I mean?
role play, foreplay stuff. That's what I see it as, and I have
So it's like people that go to sex clubs, right? Like the whole part of going to the sex club is the thing. It's not just the actual having sex. You know what I mean? So it's like it's kind of like that thing. It's like
the thrill of the hunt.
Yeah,
almost.
maybe but like there is a thing that like you talk to people that use drugs, and it's like the whole drug using experience is part of it. You know what I mean? So whether it's people that shoot up, they'll talk about the actual heating up of the drugs and the blah blah blah, the whole thing.
The 420 stuff you see online now, where it's a 20-minute video to take one hit, and it's because they've got all this gear.
Yep.
They've got all this gear in front of them, and it's a ritual.
Yeah, and it's the same thing with people that do. I used to see frequently dabs videos where people would do these big long dabs, and like it's the whole thing. It's like
the culture,
you can,
It's a spectacle.
You can be like, oh, I'll smoke pot once in a while, and it not be a personality trait. But then you can be like, oh, I smoke weed, and it is literally your personality.
The only thing about you. That used to be the old argument against like being flaming gay. It's like that's all that you are is gay. That's it. You have what color do you like?
Someone
you know what I mean?
was
Like, there's
joking-
more to it than just being.
Do you have any other hobbies?
A base defining characteristic of yourself, which is what I talked with you. Talked to Kellen about. Also, another YouTuber from Canada. God forbid, but JJ McCullough talks about how everything is kind of becoming Pokemonified, and I talk about this too, saying like everything's like a MySpace drop-down menu. You have to select a thing. Everything has to be categorized and set into a stone and be a particular thing, and you have to have an identity. It all kind of trickles down from this whole like identity politics thing, like saying you identify as this in this group and this group.
Someone's joking. They said, "Is Batman a furry?" And it's funny. It's really funny, but it actually makes me think: is Marvel to blame for the increase in what we're seeing, the absolute rise of the giant that Marvel was? I know the last few years they haven't been doing well with their movies and releases, but for a solid decade, while all these people were seeing probably children.
I think it's anime.
You think it's anime?
Yeah, dude.
It's probably
Anime's the devil.
It's probably anime.
We got Tipper Labonte in here just for.
Well, no, I'm not saying that you should. Like, I don't particularly watch a lot of anime, but I do think that it's more like. Actually, it's probably porn and cartoon porn being more readily available, and so that's honestly what it probably is. But there's a lot of porn anime.
Yeah, that's really true.
That's true. The next story we have kind of goes right into this like MySpace tabs that we're talking about. So Saturday Night Live had some fun with JoJo Siwa. And have you guys seen this costume, her music video?
No.
Okay,
I've
talked about first,
it.
and then
I've seen memes.
Yeah. So JoJo Siwa has this insane dance move now.
Always.
Where she's just like shaking violently, and she's dressed like it's like goth, but not goth. Anyway, if you guys don't know who she is, she was a very popular, like almost like
dollar
Hannah
store
Montana.
Gene Simmons.
Sort of. Yeah. So she was like a very popular children's artist. I don't know what network she was on, but it was like Hannah Montana. Yeah.
She was. She's a child star, basically.
Okay.
Yep. So here we have the actual. This is perfect. People Magazine has the side by side. So from People Magazine, they had like a 4-minute long. It was the weekend update. And fake JoJo Siwa,
Mudvayne level
Chloe
clothing.
It's like queer black metal.
Well, here's the crazy part. This is how it relates.
Queer death metal. Let's go.
This is how it feeds into what you're saying. That she thought she was the first gay pop star. Like,
oh yeah.
What?
Yes.
What?
Wow. Yes.
She thought?
She thinks that she was like revolutionary.
She never
by
heard of
becoming
Liberace?
the bad girl.
I know, right? These kids just don't.
Dude died
don't know
like
stuff.
20 years ago.
It shows the ignorance of a lot of these
But
people.
what's crazy is we all have like just the entirety of human history at our fingertips.
Dude, okay, so I've heard this, and this is something I say with music production. Just because the information is available doesn't mean you know what to search for.
Do you think there's too much, though?
Are asked, no, I don't think you don't even know what to go for. You still have to have direct. Whether you have to have a teacher, because a teacher directs you to things that you didn't know about. You can't know about something by not asking the question. You have to ask the question to even conceive of anything.
So
like
this makes me want to ask your opinion about a theory that I have. I am of the opinion that the underground no longer exists when it comes to music, because anything you want, you can find. And it used to be that like I would have to go, like I used to have to get my mom to drive me 30 minutes, which is drive half an hour for a kid that's 13, so that way we could go to the one store in the area that had the imported CDs from Europe, so I could actually go and check bands out. Right, we didn't have the internet. I couldn't just Google it, and that's part of why the underground existed. And then also on top of that was the fact that underground concerts happened. So there was a scene. Now there's still underground concerts because there's still live music and stuff, but I feel like because of the internet, there's no longer the underground styles. Like styles of music don't stay underground anymore. And so do you think that makes sense considering what you just said?
Yeah, I think it depends what kind of music you're talking about. Because if you think about punk, like punk is still super decentralized. It's just guys in vans going across the country with barely enough money to make it to the next city, selling merch, selling patches, selling records. In this case, selling tapes too. Tapes have exploded in popularity.
We're actually going to make some tapes.
Hell yeah, that's right. Because I'm part of like the dance music, house music scene, like the actual what I consider the real underground scene, and that stuff takes place on records, on tapes. Like I release a mixtape. I don't release a mixtape and put it on SoundCloud. Maybe I will. Maybe there's a secret link for like the homies, but I will release a tape. So you have to put it into a tape player, and it just creates intention. You are intentionally got a tape player. You got a setup to listen to this tape. It makes it a whole piece. The whole idea of doing that is part of like the
part of the ritual, which we were just talking about a few minutes ago. Yeah,
exactly. It's part of like the art. So I agree with you, but I think it exists in certain pockets of music. Like in metal, there's definitely like it's less and less an underground. If you're posting it online, if you're posting to Spotify, stuff like that, it's not. You're right. It's not as much as it used to be, where you need to have I mean, the investor helps to get better mastering, maybe better mix down on top of things if you don't know how to mix and stuff.
You can still do most. You can learn most of that stuff. You can do most of that stuff. There's a lot of stuff that gets automated. Like even mastering nowadays,
you can just do it in a thing.
Yeah, mastering. You don't need to. You don't need to have someone like we just because we're doing a mix right now, right? And when they sent over the master for me, I was like, we didn't have to send this out. This
sounds pretty much the same.
This sounds perfect. You know, I was like, I don't need to get someone else.
There's no like increased stereo. Yeah, it's just basically the same mix sound.
But like the internet's
and
also,
it's great. It's exactly how I want it to sound when it gets released.
It's made it very easy for people to try to do things that aren't popular. You know, like for example, like pick me girls that specifically try to do things that are different or odd or against social trends because they don't want to be like all the other girls. I think you can apply that to the underground scene where people will specifically seek out these fringe areas, whether it's furries, whether it's whatever JoJo Siwa's doing, you know, like they're gonna, just because it's not what everyone else is doing. What do they call it? Like I'm so hip, like hipsters, you know, like how that became so cringy.
I haven't heard that word in like years, like a decade, probably.
Right, because they all thought they were unique, wearing the man buns and the glasses, going to the $10 coffee shops and stuff. But then they're like, oh, everyone's doing this. This is really weird. Like, and now exactly, you haven't heard the term in a while because it was like nobody.
Because I think it was because like it was about the obsession with being grassroots and stuff like that, and now everyone kind of realizes that everything is not. It's not really going to be very grassroots. It's just less and less like that today. I think. I don't know.
You can still find it. Like Battle of the Bands are really good places to
exactly. And like within house music, all the big parties, all the big like events, the things that are happening, like I call them parties, but it's just where people are playing music in these things. Any of these places are all going to be done by people doing it themselves with gear they own. It's extremely capitalistic because it's like you have to earn the money to keep doing it. It's not like no one's going to support you. There's no endowment for the arts. You know, like it's for dance music.
Stephen Van Dalen with a $20 super chat says he blames Lola Bunny for what we're seeing with the furry takeover.
Where's Lola Bunny?
Lola Bunny from
Lola Bunny from Toons.
Maybe I do.
Who Framed Roger Rabbit? Or no, Lola Bunny was from Looney Tunes.
Yeah. Exactly. Who was the one from? I also thought Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Who was that?
I still don't know.
I forget what her name was, but
Lola Bunny is like Bugs Bunny's girlfriend.
She was from like Space Jam.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay. Oh, I know that is. That's who you blames for the furry thing?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's an interesting take.
So, so JoJo, she was pretty, she's a good sport about it all, but I think she still thinks she's the only one that's tried to be edgy.
It's because all the civil rights battles have already happened.
She said iconic in reply to the SNL. I literally don't know what to say, and she shared the show on her own Instagram.
Dude, so all the battles have already been won. Like you're just going back to crawling. People have done all the crawling so you can run, and now you're just being like, nope, I'm going to go back to crawling in the ground. I need to struggle. These people want struggle. This is just proving to me that people they need to struggle. They need to do something. They need to have something to drive them forward. Like and people talk about like New York and when in LA and these big cities, like if you're in the city and you have no money until you have to be driving to get get rent. Essentially, that's what people need. That they need struggle. They need in order. If you're in the farm, you need to grow your own food. You need to grow stuff. You need to do it. It needs to be there.
I know they
don't have. They have no proxy. They have no outward mobility in society. They can't buy a house. This is the only way they can gain social credit or clout.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
We'll touch base on this again later, but like what you're talking about is kind of like what we're seeing with the Drake and Kendrick stuff. And I don't want to get into it now, but you know, Drake comes from a very hard upbringing. Kendrick. Oh, whoa, nice. Wow, dude. So Kendrick comes. I'm sorry, I misspoke there. Kendrick comes from a hard upbringing. Drake, not so much. Childhood movie star, TV star.
Thanks, y'all.
Nice.
That's cool.
That was an early one.
Wow.
Good stuff. Yeah, the new one's legit. They need to do a trap version of that.
Okay.
It's too housey.
Send me the file. I'll do it.
Oh, you want to do it?
Yeah, I'll do it.
The next story we're going to cover is Gypsy Rose. Like Blanchard? I thought it was just Gypsy Rose. Anyway, she's got a new look. Do you guys know who Gypsy Rose is?
No idea.
So she's the girl. She just got out of prison. She killed her. She killed either both of her parents or just her mom.
Oh, never mind.
Or just her mom because
she served her time, right?
Yes.
Okay. Well then, whatever.
Yes, and she was a kid when it happened. The mom was very abusive. Well, anyway,
this girl.
She's out of prison. I think about a year ago, and she's just everyone's like obsessed with her now on the internet. But she's got a new look.
Sounds
and I don't really know what else to say about this, but I think it was worth bringing up. She looks like one of those Fox anchors now, Fox News anchors, to be honest with you. But
cool.
Yeah, very cool. But no, she got into a relationship, I think, while she was in prison, and she got married. But then she broke up with the guy because he started hiding food on her. So they got a divorce, or the divorce proceedings are underway. She's had a wild life. I think they're going to make a movie about her. But
Hiding food.
this is what I'm saying. She's so popular now. I'll pull up the Wikipedia for her. She's so popular now that Popbase, the Twitter account, is covering her. Like this is like she's considered like a pop culture icon.
What?
Now?
That's crazy. Only in America can you pivot like getting convicted of a felony into like a media career. I think only so that's the American dream right there.
So,
Pivot
Gypsy Rose
accusations.
Blanchard. All right, so here's the Wikipedia. She is an American woman convicted of second-degree murder in Missouri for the death of her mother. She was sentenced to 10 years in prison, paroled after 8. Given the sensational aspects of Gypsy's childhood, she gained widespread media attention. Okay, so there was already a TV series Hulu produced in 2019.
Oh, so it was her mother said that she was sick.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
And
So, yeah, but like, it's this tweet itself is not really the big story here because it's just a makeover. A lot of girls post selfies. Like, this is not unique. But I think it's the fact that that now she's posting selfies. It's like news. Like Popbase, the Twitter account, now feels like this is news. Like when Kim Kardashian goes to In-N-Out Burger, like somehow that's news.
Yeah.
You know? And I don't know if this is like, I'm gonna pass it to you guys. I don't know if like, yes, what happened to her was tragic and awful, but is this really someone we want to be propping up as like a role model? You know what I mean?
Like,
and that's what it seems like.
I think that
bro, OJ got to live his life.
yeah,
But
for real.
was OJ getting, you know, like, did he get all this media coverage after he was released from
No, but
prison?
OJ was a man.
No, I know. And maybe that's the difference. Maybe that's the difference, man versus woman. But I don't remember OJ like, oh, check out OJ's new haircut, you know, and stuff like that.
I mean, no, they did do. I mean,
some media rehab, but not a lot.
Yeah.
he'd already been in media his whole life. He's already like, I got away with this. I'm gonna live my life. Then he released that book, which is an interesting angle. I wouldn't have done that.
You know,
but
the
he
family
decided
got
to
to
do
choose how the title was
it.
displayed.
Yeah, and they changed the way that the wording of it. Yeah, which was genius. That was
If
a good move.
I did it, so I did it is in big
Yeah, it's
letters.
huge.
And
Yeah.
if it's
real
real
tiny.
small. Yeah,
it's
yeah.
pretty funny.
I don't know. I think that what you're talking about to me is like as the pace of media increases, you need to produce more content. So then the barrier to entry for new content continues to drop, right? So as you need more and more content to fill space, your the level of importance for something to need to be talked about gets lower and lower and lower over time. So like for instance, like why you said she goes to In-N-Out and that becomes a story is because you need to have content. You need to put something out there, and then that becomes because we don't have, like, I was talking about this the other day with a friend, like we only have attention. You're paying attention, but there's no value placed on the attention. There's no value to say, like, there used to be with likes and dislikes, which I wish could be a thing in real life when someone says like and dislike. And it's like a social credit thing, but it's like it shows you what is and what isn't what most people think, which I think is an important thing to know about something. Because if you don't know what most people think, you may choose, you know, the worst of something. I don't know. It's just
There's a term for when
you see what I'm saying though. It's like the tokenification. It becomes lower and lower as time goes on,
There's
because
also-
people just want to talk about anything. They want to talk about everything else, especially right now. Everything sucks right now. They'd rather talk about Kim K going there than let's talk about Israel Palestine.
But I don't.
you know,
I think you're giving them too much credit. I don't think they have that mindset. You're right.
Maybe.
You're right. Like someone choosing to focus on the kind of cheesy
Doing it more is
white
not gonna
pill
help them,
content. You know, the puppy got saved out of a tree rather than the Israel-Palestine conflict. I get that, but I don't think that's what we're seeing here. I mean, like, there's a term for people who are like attracted to those that are incarcerated. I can't remember what it is. There's like a slang term for it.
Yeah.
But look at the top comment. She might be out of jail, but she's still serving. That's the top comment. Like, these are all just simps on this post. This is not her
serving
Twitter
looks.
account.
Wow.
This is not her Twitter account, right?
Wow.
It's just all, she sprinkled
man.
some mozzarella on Slayitza
dude.
and served it in a warm container. She's going to be the #1 real estate agent in her area in 6 months.
Well, I don't know.
Wow, man.
So
Dudes are weird
maybe
on the
they
internet.
just feel
Simp Army, man.
there's
It's
some girls in here. There's some of these comments are from
People are
girls.
weird
Yeah,
on the
they
internet.
definitely are. They definitely are. I mean, maybe it's just like a sympathy thing.
a simp.
Yeah,
Simpy thing. Yeah, that's what I think it is.
Yeah.
I don't know. She's a beautiful woman. She's always gonna be. It's always gonna be in a different standard in that
It's a lot of
society.
trauma, though. Are you prepared for that?
I mean,
Dude, hey, listen. Listen.
Crazy ass.
The only people that think about stuff like that are people over a certain age. All the replies could be like dudes 20 to 25. Dudes 20 to 25 do not concern themselves with that stuff, generally. Sure, there are some that are thoughtful, but mostly they're like, yo, can I hit?
Yeah.
You know, or could I hit?
Dude.
Yep.
Don't worry about the rest
I
later.
don't want to say you're right, but I think you are.
Yep.
You know?
Well, every guy knows it. It's true.
This is not an endorsement or anything. I'm just telling you.
Just the truth.
The next story we've got is I found this one today. It's from someone wrote this article at 6:45 in the morning, and I just Emily Blunt says she absolutely wanted to throw up after kissing certain actors during filming. I've definitely not enjoyed some of it. So
Shock.
yeah, and then it's like, you know, some like imagine Jack Black. I don't know if he has any scenes in but current Jack Black. If he, you know, he's an amazing guy, but he's not Tom Cruise, right? He's not Brad Pitt. So like I totally expected this when it comes to the world of Hollywood. A lot of times characters are not necessarily, they're supposed to be, you know, romantically compatible, but that's not always the case. She was on Howard Stern, and she's talking about how she had to fake chemistry over the years. Well, no shit.
That's called acting.
You mean you
It's
had
called-
to act?
Yeah.
You had to be
Exactly.
an actor.
Sorry, you had to do your job.
Always complaining about their job.
Now,
It's
some of
crazy to me.
these co-stars.
It's one thing to complain about your job. It's
Yeah.
another thing to complain about your job without realizing that you're complaining about your job.
Some of the but dude, this is not even that bad over here, because like it's no one crazy, right? So Matt Damon, she was a co-star of. Tom Cruise,
Jealous.
Dwayne The Rock Johnson, Ryan Gosling, and Cillian Murphy.
These are the people that she didn't like
That
kissing.
she won't say who she didn't like. These
Oh,
are
those-
all people that I think she's had a romantic scene with.
Oh, okay.
So, but I'm like, these are all considered, like, I'm pretty sure all of those guys were on like Men's Magazine or
It's
whatever.
just
So
her preference, and she didn't.
she's married
like
to
doing
John
some-
Krasinski, right?
Well,
think
okay,
so.
she's married, so all she was doing is she's just saying stuff to make her husband feel good. That's fine.
That's
it.
a good point.
There you go.
That's a good point.
Case solved.
Because I've
Yeah,
always
close.
wondered that.
And that's good from her.
Like if you're
Yeah,
like
true. Supports her. She supports her husband in that
Yeah.
sense. Yeah.
like yeah, if you're someone
Good point.
like, I don't consider Emily Blunt, when I think of the most beautiful actresses, not that she's ugly or anything, but Emily Blunt is not a name that comes to my mind. There's 10 other actresses that I'm gonna name before her. So
Yeah, I don't even know.
but like I've
who
always
she
wondered
is,
that
but-
in when, you know, you're a supermodel or a very beautiful actress, very high profile, and you're married, like what are those conversations like? Especially when there's 5 or 6 scenes right here that she, you know, 5 or 6 dudes that she's made out with on camera. Like what are those conversations like at the house? And now he's an actor too. Given in her
Yeah.
situation,
making
little
out
bit
is
easier
one
to
thing.
understand.
Making out is one thing. Infidelity is a whole other thing. I think.
Yeah, I also imagine, like, if you're professional actors,
Yeah.
you can kind of discuss it and figure it out and have like a way that like everything is kosher
well,
and
there's
stuff
tricks
like that.
too. I mean,
Yeah, and well, the thing is, like, I
camera
imagine
tricks
that,
and
like,
stuff.
I imagine that the people that have happy relationships have figured out how to make it work, and the people that don't have not, or you know, and I don't know that it's always the same for everybody, you know, because people have different levels of tolerance and different things that they you know that bother them. I mean, look, the fact of the matter is, there are people in the adult industry that have relationships that at least work
Yeah,
for a
that's
certain amount
another
of time.
story.
So
Yeah.
if they can do that, like, you know, look, fine, you know,
who's the
whatever.
one guy that's lets everyone bang his wife?
Adam 22.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, the only reason he gets a lot of crap about it because there are other people other people that are married in the adult industry that have different levels of like their actual acting and stuff like that, and like, you know, some people are cool with it and some people aren't, and you know, for me, I wouldn't be cool with it. Like that's just me. But like, I'm not saying that other people couldn't be. You know, but I do think that it's bad to promote that kind of stuff because I think most people, and by most I mean, you know, 70%, 60%.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sure there's a significant portion of the population that could be fine with it, but I think most people are better served by being like, that's probably not going to make you happy.
Right.
You know what I mean?
She said she's been acting for so long, this is from the article, that she has a formula with how to build chemistry to avoid her nausea coming up when having to kiss people. So she says, I've got to find something I love about everybody. I have to find something. Even if it's just one thing. It might be that they have a nice laugh, or I like how they speak to people. They're polite. I mean, It might be something random, she explained, but find something you love about that person or something you love about them as the character and then kind of lean into that.
Describing acting, like, cool. That's you're describing acting.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like this is all like, I got a relationship that I'm trying to maintain and I want to make sure that it stays. Because look, man, at the very least, if you are in a situation where you're like, oh, I loved working with this person, and you had a romantic scene, right? And you got a relationship at home that you want to be in, and you want to work. Do you really want to go and be like, oh, I loved working with this person, and we had such great chemistry, and blah blah blah, and I love this, and da da da. Or do you want to be like, well, I'm an actor, and this is how I act, and these are the things I do when I act because I'm acting because I love my husband and I love my family.
That's what it is. You're right.
If I go on tour and I'm dating someone or whatever, it's like I don't act like I don't flirt. Yeah. And then I don't I don't flirt on the internet when I'm dating someone because you don't want the other person to feel like, oh, this isn't cool.
Well, given like, I would say as a performer, you have a very different performing style than like Robin Thicke, right? Who is like, has that sex appeal. I don't know if he's in a relationship or not, but like, you got to be able to like contain that. Yes, women are coming to your show to see you dance erotically and get all lovey-dovey, right? But how do you navigate that if you are in a relationship? Because you still need to maintain the career, but you also need to make sure,
100%.
at the end of the day, it is just a career, So it's a good point.
And you have to walk the line of making the person that you're engaging with feel like you're engaging with them,
right.
But at the same time, you don't want to like cross any kind of line.
Right.
So.
Right. Yeah. And I mean,
and you also want it to remain a fantasy. You don't want them to you don't want to make it seem like it could become real. You know what I mean? You want it to be imaginary.
Right. I was talking about this actually. Like when I was young, one of my I guess mentors DJing in Singapore, DJ Han, told me that you have to remember that people that like you from watching you DJ, or I'm sure you can relate to this, Phil, watching you perform, they like you for that.
Yep.
They don't like you. They like your image. They like your title and your name. That's what they like. They don't know you.
Yeah.
They have no idea who you are.
They do.
They think they do. They don't know who you are. And it's something that I like heard when I was like 17, I think 16 or 17, and I was just like, wow, and now I see it all the time. That's why it's just people that are like these these behemoths of culture and stuff like that are just human beings.
Right.
They're just human beings. Like that's that's important to remember.
And I guess, to be fair, if you're going to go down that route, like it's kind of an inevitable obstacle that you're going to have to overcome, whether it's being romantic in movies or being
famous,
romantic on stage.
Yeah. Like
you're choosing to put that part of you into the public eye. So I think it's kind of expected in a way. Like to think that those,
I would think,
that frustration and friction won't happen. I think it's just you'd be naive, Now some people stay single forever, like DiCaprio, right? That's how he navigates it. I mean, not single, but he's never like, it doesn't seem like the guy's gonna get settle down. He doesn't get married. And there's been other people I can't think of off the top of my head, but other actors that straight up say like, no, I have no intention of getting married. I think I don't want to assume anything, but yeah, like DiCaprio is the one guy that really comes to mind about
Clooney
that.
Got
he just dates around.
I think it just takes time. Clooney got married a little while ago.
That's who I was going to think. He did get married though. He had like a longtime partner.
Yep, and he got married.
Yeah, that seems. I don't know about, that seems like another issue he's
dealing with. I don't know if it was a super long time. I have no idea, but
yeah,
and I know that he's married for
what's
sure.
His name? No, shoot, Goodfellas. Not Pacino. De Niro. I'm pretty sure just got married to someone really young.
Oh, that's right. That's right. De Niro did get it.
Who was De Niro?
Like someone 30 or something like that.
Yeah, in their 30s.
Pretty young.
Mid-30s, I think.
And but hey,
if
it works for them, it works for them.
Know, whatever. If she's of legal consenting age, I don't care. Go for it. Live your life.
And I know we've talked about plenty of cringy stuff, but transitioning to the actual cringe of the day, this is brought to you guys by Brett himself. It's not of Brett, but he found this one. So was it Zach Bryan, I believe? Yeah, Zach Bryan brought out Sexy Red. I know you're going to like this one, Phil. You love Sexy Red.
Oh, Sexy Red. I cannot, I found out about her, before she, busted onto the scene, so I was one of the early people to find out about her, and I was spreading her stuff around, thinking it was the funniest stuff going. And man, was I wrong to do that?
You're like Frankenstein. You're like, what is this I've created?
That's like, I feel like. So, do you guys know who Mars is?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So Mars. There was a video of Doja Cat listening to a Mars song, like, and it just went.
That video.
It went all over the internet. I'm like, is Mars gonna blow up like
a
Sexy
whole
Red
album,
now?
right?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't know if she listened to the whole album. There was just this one particular song that she was listening to, and like you could see her just being like. And the thing is, like, her boob was basically out in the video too.
Yeah,
like she just showed, like, it was this
That's another
see-through
person.
shirt.
She's gonna have trouble if she ever does settle down because of the type of person she is.
She was just walking around in public, like wearing a sheet, and the sheet on the tag on the sheet, I saw it on Instagram. On the tag on the sheet, it said dress, but she was literally walking around carrying a white sheet with a dude that was wearing. I swear to God, they were Jenkos. I don't know for sure if they were actually Jenko brands, but they were Jenkos. I was like, it is 20 years ago. It is 2001.
Well, here's the clip.
Right.
Right,
Oh,
1998.
Like those
it is
really
happening.
really big, thick cords, like the corduroys, like this.
Yes, it was crazy. Like, I swear to God, he was wearing those. It's on her Instagram.
Yeah.
Go look. It is crazy.
Here's the clip. Keep in mind this is a country concert.
Oh my God.
That's so funny. Hey, listen to the crowd. They're eating it up.
She sings about
This
being
is like right here is like when you play Fortnite and you guys are all different characters.
yeah, this is what Call of Duty's like now. Just be like Nicki Minaj running around killing people, showing up at the
And a T-Rex.
yeah, exactly. She sings about being an actual prostitute before. I don't know if she actually I don't know if she was.
I don't think I've ever listened to a single Sexy Red.
I can't hear you over there.
Yeah, I think we get the point. I was
Yeah.
gonna say I don't think I've ever listened to an actual Sexy Red song. I've
Oh.
listened to Doja Cat. I've listened to Nicki Minaj, but
She is
I first saw her because she was showing up on like the New York Giants sidelines during the season, and so they're like, "Who is she dating? She's dating someone from the team. Like, who is it?"
No. She's there because she was the talent. Like the song that I heard is called "Born by the River," and there's this other girl. I think the girl Sukiyana is the girl's name that's in the song, and I think she was on the podcast by I forget the girl's name, but she's very thin, very skinny, pale white girl that says and she just asked the dumbest questions.
Althoff?
I think so. But she really asked stupid questions. Sukiyana mixed up musician with magician.
She just doesn't.
That's peak comedy to me.
I
That's
couldn't.
Like one of the best things ever.
And at first I was like, "Oh,
Musician,
is this fake?" But then I'm
I
like,
do music. I'm like,
Didn't she just get? I think she just got arrested for something. That girl.
I mean, that
I
is
believe
like,
it.
look, man, that is some world class stupid. If it's not an act,
It's
And
either
she
world class
makes-
stupid or world class acting.
I mean,
And she's selling out stages, bro.
to not know the difference
selling
between
rooms,
music
man.
and you're supposed to be a musician, like literally,
Crazy, dude.
like. And so I think that chick was in the video with Sexy Red. Chat might be able to. Not that I think Chat knows who Sexy Red is. I feel like the PCC chat is like, I don't know anything about any of these
You're like,
people.
yeah, what are we
Music
being
you may know
subjected
better.
to right now?
But it's just crazy to me to see that literally that's at a country concert. That's wild.
It's
Where was
crazy.
this? What city was this?
St. Louis.
That St. Louis, you know,
St. Louis makes a little more sense maybe, but it's just like
it's very well known for rapping.
cross
You've got a
genre.
guy with the
Yeah,
fiddle.
there's gonna be a lot of
You've
cross
got-
genre.
You've
Yeah.
got
fans
Zach
in there,
Bryan, and then you get Sexy Red.
Not kidding around. Like actually, St. Louis, it makes sense because it's like it does make me think of like
St. Louis. It's
you know?
definitely more like because that's where that's the beginning of like the southern rap sphere kind of is. St. Louis. So, like,
because that's what
definitely
Nelly's
something.
from, and like
Right,
that he has like he kind of now that you bring that
When
up,
you say that,
you
that's-
mentioned that it kind of does it does make more sense.
in Kalispell, Montana.
Well, I know
Makes more
Tennessee
sense.
has
Yeah.
Tennessee is a big rap game too.
Yeah.
Memphis, yeah.
sure.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know. I just it's just funny to see like and everyone's been talking about how like the new country and like I was a part of this. I guess you could say the new country where it's like it's got a really big kick and a really big like snare, just like hip hop, because it's the same
Well,
pace.
there was
It's a really similar thing. Is melding together because that's what most of the fans listen to Lil Boosie, and then they also like what Zach Bryan. They like both of those people. Like, well, remember, they're going to be crossover there.
Beyonce's not a rapper, but she's creating a country album, right?
Yeah,
I think you consider her like an
right.
R&B singer, right? So she's doing country.
Look at Tyler the Creator. You can make any kind of music you want.
Listen, there's another thing that
Lil Nas X, Old Town Road.
One of the things that happens frequently is you see a lot of R&B singers and country singers doing the same songs because the songs work so well in both genres, right? You can take an R&B song and translate it into a country song. And I talk about this when people ask me questions about songwriting and stuff. And the thing about songwriting is if you have a good song, it doesn't matter if it's in a metal genre or a country genre or whatever. It's a good song. You're starting with a good meal, so the flavor, or you're starting with good products in a meal, right? Like if you're making something with beef, right? If it's good quality beef, it's going to be good. Now, how you season it or how you prepare it is going to be different, but it's still good quality beef. Right. If you got a good song, it doesn't matter if it's got like country flavor or R&B or rock flavor. It's still a good song.
Yeah. Daniel J. Corica says, quote, "I love my husband," end quote, Phil.
Okay. What? Oh yeah, because he's repeating what I said.
Yeah,
so he's
someone, clip it, man. Just clip it.
Yeah, but appreciate the super chat.
Yeah, thanks for the clip. Appreciate the
on that note, I think we'll get into the show. Well, the actual show.
We're 5 minutes late.
Are we 5 minutes late? No, we're there. We're there. We're on the Brett time. We're doing good. Serge, as Brett would say, are you ready?
Yeah. Yeah.
What about you, Phil?
Yeah.
Are you ready?
I'm ready. Let's go.
All right. So the first story that we have is Star Wars cringe. So did you guys follow any of this? I opened it up in the show talking about it.
Like, I mean, look, the fact of the matter is, like, Star Wars is ruined, so like May the 4th isn't fun anymore because it's
Mark Hamill's cringe.
Yeah.
I knew
that's where it's going. So Mark
it's all
Hamill,
just cringe now.
The White House, our beautiful, beautiful president, and Mark Hamill decided to do a collab this year for Star Wars Day. Amongst other people, you're gonna absolutely love this, Surge. Now we're gonna pull these up because it doesn't. If I just talk about this, it doesn't do it any justice. So the first clip we have is from Autism Capital.
Nice.
And
great username.
It shows our great press secretary with Luke Skywalker himself.
Oh God.
You know, Mark, I get to say a lot of things at that podium, but I've always wanted to say something to you. What? May the 4th be with you.
Oh, and remember, I'll always be forcefully yours.
Mi corazón.
I mean, it's not. Look, the bright side is it's not as bad as the holiday special.
That is some premium cringe.
It is not as bad as the holiday. I don't think that. Wow. And to be honest with you,
now. I bet they want it to be.
I love
as long as they're making Star Wars stuff, you can compare it to the worst thing ever, which was the Star Wars Christmas special.
Yeah, that was bad.
We have a $20 super chat from Corey Anderson. Says, Luke Bryan, before I song my chart topping romantic love song Strip It Down, here's Sexy Red.
Wow.
I love his line here where he says, "I'm forcefully yours."
Do you?
You know, I tried using that line in a bar one time. It didn't go well. Forcefully yours. Go well.
Yeah, I mean, it does sound. I mean, I would qualify that as rapey.
Yeah, I think so too.
It's rapey.
Just a little bit, Mark.
It's a
just
weird
a little
vibe,
bit.
Man.
Yeah.
It gets better though, because this one's from Cloud World. Oh, it gets better. So we got dark Brandon here. A nice cutout.
Yeah.
I think we should put that right behind me. I think it'd be a good spot for it. But
hey, I'm Mark Hamill, and I'm voting for Obi-Wan Kenobi.
I don't care.
I'm gonna let it be awkward.
People that are younger than whatever age don't care. Like no one cares who you're
That's
voting
what's
for. Mark
so
Hamill.
funny about this because they put
hater, but people my age and stuff like we don't even really care about.
They
it.
had like $5 in their pocket to place a bet,
right,
and they put it all on Mark Hamill on Star Wars Day.
Yeah, that's
dude, what I find so funny.
That's like max
now,
cringe to me.
I'm telling you, it keeps getting better.
Did that
and better because from our neighbors to the
Oh
north.
God!
From our neighbors to the north, we have our
I hate the neighbors.
supreme leader,
you can
Justin Trudeau.
Die of cringe.
Hey, Hayden, how you doing?
Oh, cool.
Prime Minister,
Happy May the 4th.
And to you too, my friend. I've actually told the kids they better be binging Star Wars.
Amazing. And so what's your plan?
I'm working. I'm actually packing up my stuff because I got to hit the road soon. But listen, may the 4th be with you.
And with you.
They couldn't even get Star Wars music.
Are they?
It'd be funny if the Communist Manifesto was. Yeah.
Dude, okay. Star Wars is good. Star Wars is cooking up.
Dude, when I was a kid, and that was not that long ago, Star Wars wasn't cool. It really bothers me. They're like,
people are trying to retcon it. They're trying to make it cool.
It's exactly what's
because Disney
happening.
owns it, and Disney's Disney's Rainbow Corp.
Yeah. So Justin Trudeau, I just love it. I didn't know Hayden Christensen was Canadian either.
Yeah, there's a lot of Canadians lurking in our midst. I'm telling you, you don't know they really are. They get away with it.
I love the idea that he just casually calls like him and Justin Trudeau are friends. He's like, "Hey, Justin."
What a weird.
And they FaceTime.
What a weird implication that is, dude. It's so odd. It's like Canada is that small. They're all just buddies.
So I showed you the Justin Trudeau one last because
man.
it leads into this. The new Star Wars show, The Acolyte villain, is non-binary. Happy Star Wars Day. Showrunner Leslie, Leslye, Leslie Headland. That sounds like an advertisement for lice. I'm sorry. Hopes fans embrace the duality of the characters in the show.
I'm not watching.
Oh, duality.
this.
Oh, so there is a binary?
Oh, you beat me to it. I was going to point that out. But so happy Star Wars Day. May the 4th be with you. It is apparently learned the villain of the Acolyte is non-binary. Who knew they existed hundreds of years, typo there, before Luke Skywalker in a galaxy far, far away. For Star Wars Day, Lucasfilm released a new trailer and poster, which is described by StarWars.com, featuring a terrifying figure carrying a red-bladed lightsaber. They are my favorite character. What does showrunner Leslie Headland say about the mysterious character? I'll just say they're my favorite character.
It's gonna sound.
She's
You're
using
gonna have.
they.
They're gonna use they all the time, and the vocabulary, the dialogue is gonna be. It's gonna be distracting and annoying because it's gonna pull you. I'm not watching it. I haven't watched the Star Wars thing. The last Star Wars thing that I watched was the Mandalorian, the first season. I enjoyed. I enjoyed most of that. Some of the shows were filler, but whatever. Otherwise, I don't care, and I certainly don't want to watch that. It's like you can go ahead and do it, like knock yourselves out, but I don't care. And you know they've.
It's like they say, we're glad to see that there was non-binary characters hundreds of years in the past. I'm like, it's a story. You know that, right? Like it's a thing that they wrote in an office, somewhere in fucking Burbank. You know what I mean? Like I'm not trying to be rude, but like it's not real. You're glad to see it because like they wrote it because it's like that's the thing that they're trying to do. Like it's not. I just think that it's just man, good for you. Like you can destroy it, you can ruin Star Wars for what you want. Like go for it.
So the article writes, wait,
whatever.
And the one more thing. The problem with that is the non-binary LGBT stuff. That is all a fad.
Yeah.
Like none of this is timeless.
Yep, it's a new scene.
Right?
This is what we're talking about with furries.
Yeah, it's
pushing the envelope.
It's going to go away. It's going to stop being in vogue, and it's going to make these more dated. These stories are not going to be timeless stories about things that matter to people in the future, because these are the current trends and the things that are popular now. Right. And the thing that people loved about Star Wars is it was just the simple hero's journey.
Yes.
That's what the story was, and that resonates with people because of the fact that we're human beings, and that reflects on a lot of people's lives. They can relate it to their own lives. This stuff, only a very vanishingly small portion of the population can relate to it at all, and most of the people that say they can relate to it are only saying that because it's popular culture now, and this is going to make these things it's going to make them distracting in the future, and it's going to take away any rewatchability once these things are no longer in vogue.
You see this with video games too, because like if you're talking about just
100%,
sci-fi
100%.
in general and the mysterious, like that element is being absolutely shredded, because there's this common meme where guys will see a character and they're like, oh, that's totally me. Girls see a character and they need it to be them, right? And so that's what we're seeing now, is that these stories are becoming too human, whether it's video games, whether it's Nicki Minaj and Call of Duty or Star Wars, right? Like, no, we like the fact that we can resonate with a mysterious alien-like character who's from a faraway land. Now they're becoming too close to home.
The idea that sexuality, that you have to put human popular culture sexuality onto aliens is ridiculous. Like, if you know anything about Star Trek Deep Space Nine, there was this character Jadzia Dax. Like, that was like, it was not a human, and sexuality to it wasn't the same. They wrote it as if it was an alien sexuality. Nowadays, they would have to put some kind of LGBT label onto it.
Do you watch Invincible on Amazon?
I do not. I don't watch.
So it's an adult animated superhero show. It's from the same creator as The Walking Dead, and they have an element where you don't see any romantic scene, but there is the Viltrumites, which are they look like humans, right? The one character ends up having a child with an alien, right? And so it's like you get this weird hybrid. Now it's done well. It's done right, because there is no sex scene. There is no romance. There is no story about the relationship. It's just one day he's like, oh yeah, I wasn't supposed to do this. We're not supposed to breed with other planets and stuff, but I did it anyway. And it's like, it was furthering the actual story. They did it right. So you can tastefully do this stuff.
Yes, absolutely.
But that's not the norm.
No, the thing is that these things that were parts of the story, like that character Jadzia Dax that I was talking about, like it was a part of the story, so it didn't feel ham-fisted, and it wasn't the only thing about Dax every time you saw Dax. Like, Dax was a character, and Dax did things that were unrelated to the fact that Dax was like was an alien living inside of a shell or whatever. I don't know. I don't remember the specific details. Sure. It was a cool part of the show, and it was because of the fact that it wasn't steeped in LGBT stuff. It was an interesting way to approach the idea. Now you can't do it in an interesting way. There is only one way to do it, and that is with a rainbow flag attached to it.
The approved way.
The specific way that the LGBT lobby demands.
So going on what you touched base, Serge, the article continues, I hope audiences embrace the duality that exists in every character in the show. The show is an onion. Each episode peels away to reveal something else. I hope the experience of watching is both suspenseful and satisfying. Yeah,
we don't need film critics anymore. I think we don't need them anymore.
I think this is the creator.
They can just review it and tell us. We just don't need them anymore.
Yeah, the showrunner. This is the showrunner talking about this, not the film critic.
We don't. Yeah,
she's got very high expectations of how you're supposed to react as
of course she does.
The audience. Now,
we don't need either of those.
I know we're joking about it is like there's only two options if it's a duality. I don't think she realizes what she's saying.
No, of course not.
But of course not. There's not
she's talking about the duality of man, and she's trying to make I'm
good and
making a joke
evil.
there.
Darth Vader was good, and then he was bad, then he was good again. And it's like, well, okay, they did that. Can you come up with something new?
Right?
No.
Really. There are only they say there's only there's only 7 jokes or only like 20 jokes that you can really make. They're like actual humor or whatever. So it's like, I get it, and I understand that stories will be recycled over time and repackaged, because again, this is the classic hero's journey. But this is the wrong way to do it. This is the wrong. I want to see new stuff. Like, have an imagination. I want to talk about aliens and stuff that is not of this world. I want to talk about other stuff. That's what makes it cool. It makes human dynamics in that environment cool. Like, this is just weird. Like,
it's making it not alien.
Yeah, exactly. It's bringing the real world. This is what I talk about with music.
100%.
You're bringing the outside world into music, into art. It's not what it's about. That's why people often say, "Oh, political rap music is not my thing." It's like, okay, I get it, because you're bringing the real world too much into the music. There's no more. People listen to music to escape from reality. They listen to music to go somewhere else in their mind, as opposed to being in what they're doing, no matter what kind of music it is. And I just don't see why we have to bring it into this. Doesn't mean you can't do things like Live Aid. Sure, great idea, but they're in those music, in those songs, they're not talking about Live Aid. They're not talking about the thing they're getting money for. You know what I mean? That's just what I just think. This is a victim. It's falling victim to that. It's bringing the real world too much.
Also, if we're not even talking about specifically Star Wars, we're just talking about Disney's unable to learn from their mistakes. You saw what they did from Marvel. Yeah. They tried something new, which, granted, I encourage. Try something new, and it didn't work. It didn't work with Marvel. So what do? They double down, they triple down, they quadruple down. Well, now we're seeing this with Star Wars. You got a lot of criticism when you rebooted the Star Wars franchise, and now you keep putting projects out that are seemingly plagued with the same issues, with the same lackluster storyline, too social justice-y, right?
Yeah.
Just at best, it's stale. At worst, it's complete political lecturing.
What I think we're seeing is a result of people hiring their friends, and now we're at the point where where a lot of the public is sick and tired of the same stories, but there's still going to be a lot of those stories coming out because they've been in production for a couple of years, because they've been working on these things. So these people, so it's like, it's going to be where you're going to see a lot of these things coming out for probably the next 5 years. People are going to get really, really, really tired of it, and it's going to take a little while before you see significant changes. But I can't see this stuff sticking around because you've got these topics coming up in calls with the boards, in calls with the shareholders, and those kind of calls at the in the upper echelons of the business side of it. And granted, the entertainment is only there to support the actual a park, I guess, if I understand correctly. The movies and stuff are designed to.
Brett points that out always.
Yeah, it's really basically advertising for the parks and for the attractions.
And it's a damn shame because the Star Wars hotel they created looks cool as hell. It actually looks really cool.
The bar,
but I'm not going to go there now because I've
seen
all of this. It's left a bad taste in my mouth.
I went there in 2022, right after they lowered the restrictions a little bit, and going to that cantina thing, the weird alien bar was sick. And I'm not even a huge Star Wars fan. It was just cool to do it. That's the spectacle. That's what I want to go see. I don't want to be confronted with a neo-trans flag or whatever when I'm going to something at this restaurant. I don't want to go.
I don't want to go to what's it called and then say
it's just so boring. It's the same thing over and over.
Like if I'm walking through there and I see this new character walking around, I don't want to have to be like, oh, there they are.
Right.
I don't want to have it's like, okay, cool.
Get arrested for misgendering.
Yeah, oh, cool. Yeah. Did I misgender the character and now everyone around is fucking crying about it?
No, in their defense, we're talking about alien lands. You can create a character where that doesn't exist. Yeah, like bugs,
but they
just maybe they are like cells. They just split, and now there's two of them.
That's the point that I'm making.
But they're not doing that.
No, they're not.
They're applying it to human and societies that do have that binary.
Yep.
And they're saying, but this character, our main character, our hero, they're different, right? So. It just feels preachy. No matter what your politics are, it doesn't seem like it's entertaining. It seems like you're going to a lecture. Yeah. Right.
Yes,
definitely.
Absolutely.
It's like clapter, in comedy too. And people don't go there for the laughing. They go there just to support whatever thing you just said.
Have you heard of Apex Legends, Surge?
It's like a video game. I think,
yeah.
Right?
Have you ever played it, Phil?
Yep.
So the one character Bloodhound in Apex Legends is canonically non-binary, but that's because and I actually like how they do this because they don't make a big stink about it. The game has its other problems, but with this specific character, they're just it's a mysterious figure in the wasteland with a mask on and a voice modulator. Yeah, we have no idea who this character is. We don't know where they come from.
They're anonymous. Yeah.
It's an enigma, right? And they do it well. Mm-hmm. They do it that way. It makes sense. But then with other characters, they do the game has its other issues. But that's an example of you can, if you want to eliminate gender from your story or the characters you're creating, there's a way to do it. But you can't just.
Yes.
They're trying to force a square puzzle block into a circular hole. It's not going to work, but they're trying their hardest.
They're still trying that, man.
Yeah,
everything goes in the square hole, but the square doesn't go in all the holes.
Right. They keep trying, man. They're not going to stop, dude. They're just not going to stop.
Now, to end the Star Wars conversation on a light note, I have this little 5-second clip. Here we go.
Wow.
All right, we're going to go to Super Chats. Let's scroll up and see where we were. We've read a few of them already. A couple of those $20 ones that came in. Hope it actually.
Oh, those are the ones you were reading out.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yep. I just gotta scroll up. Give me 1 second. Yeah. Anytime. Remember, guys. Anytime you send a $20 super chat, I will interrupt the conversation and read it right away. Shane H. Wilder says, "Happy Monday, Kellen, Phil, and Surge. Kellen, don't F it up, or you're back in the cuck chair." No, I've graduated from that one. We're not there anymore.
I hate that chair. I hate that exists.
Andrew Jacobs says, what do you call Mary going on IRL? Slumming. Dude, I thought Mary and Brett had a phenomenal...
You said that with two people that go on IRL fairly regularly sitting here, homie. Like
talk smoke.
I've
he's you want to smoke?
Literally the producer, and he's just like,
I thought you were there in the room. I was next door, right outside the room. I thought Mary and Brett had some very groundbreaking takes on Friday's episode.
They had a really good,
solid 30 seconds of airtime.
Good bites, some good bites. But I don't.
To be fair, towards the end there, Mary did really jump into that conversation. So she was. It was a good episode.
Yeah, it was good.
Brett Dasovic says, "Move Kellen's shot to your left. I spy gaff tape." Who's this guy? I love you guys. Keep up the good work. This Brett Dasovic guy seems like a problem.
I wonder if it's the actual Brett Dasovic.
I think it is. I see someone skating in his profile picture. Corey Anderson says, "Thank God Phil is here. The only professional. LOL."
Yeah.
Cora Nelson says, what is worse, Joby-Wan Kenobi or Kamala Harris?
Both give me cancer.
I'm going to say
Both are
Joby-Wan
so millennial.
Kenobi is way worse than
They're
Kamala
chuggy.
Harris. You don't have to like
They're both chuggy.
Kamala's
Lame.
nickname, but she came up with it. It's like her thing.
Did she?
Yeah, it's something her and her family call her, and she's bringing it to like...
Mamala.
Well, to be fair, Drew Barrymore is the one who called her that.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Yeah, cringy nickname, but a lot of people have cringy nicknames. So I think the Joby-Wan Kenobi one's way worse.
That's horrific. That's not a good one.
Oh, here you go, Serge. Shane H. Wilder says, I question why Serge knows about Rainforest. You got something to tell us?
No, I'm a 4chaner, and that's my era of 4chan.
You went undercover?
My era of 4chan was destroying, like literally putting Tumblr on a stake in front of the city. That's what 4chan did, and then I feel like we made a mistake in doing that. And I will openly admit that's what I did, but I don't use 4chan anymore. I'm a recovered 4chaner.
I don't believe that one bit.
I don't. I literally don't. I just try to not be on as much as I can possibly. I just don't do it. I just have stopped. It's just it's an addiction, I think. Yeah.
Corey Anderson says all furries are dudes.
A good portion of them are, but there are many girls that do fur.
Not these days.
Yeah, there are many girls that do fur stuff.
I think the guys go all out with the really expensive suits. Girls will just slap on like bunny ears and be like, "I'm a furry now," you know? Like,
yeah, totally.
We'll get a couple more.
There is
here.
danger in that, but yes.
Yeah, there is.
Corey Anderson again says, if women were furries, there'd be SA claims left and right. Don't care what anyone says. All losers, all dudes not special.
Yeah, but I agree. But I've seen there are many pick-me girls like Kellen was talking about that do it to be like, oh, like I'm part of this thing, because they choose like I see it in dance music, you see it in everything. You pick a particular niche thing, very niche thing. Like house music on records is very niche. People that choose that thing, like you're gonna be, unless you really like it, like you can tell with anything, like whether the person's really about it or not. And I think that's just a new thing to pick me about. Which is crazy to me, but I guess it is. I don't know.
We'll get one more in here. Shane H. Wilder says, since Mary isn't here, I'll be the token Catholic and say it's demons. And that was in response to the furry fest.
I agree.
So
we agree.
Yeah. Now, this next story that we're going to talk about is, Serge, I'm going to introduce this, then I'll kind of let you take it away, because I know you're way more you're way more on the pulse. You got your finger on the pulse more than I think I do. Phil said you didn't know much about this. But Drake and Kendrick Lamar, some of the biggest rap beef I've seen in years. And I saw someone say that this is going to end up in someone getting arrested. So we have this article it's a tweet from TMZ. It says, Kendrick Lamar is escalating his rap beef with Drake, labeling him as a PDF file, as Mary says, and another new diss track less than 24 hours after releasing Meet the Grams. Another tweet from Drama Alert says, Drake's old tweets keep resurfacing. And that's in a quote tweet from a 2011 post by Drizzy, Drake himself. It says, the kids I hang out with are going to be parents one day. ... Scary. We'll get one more in here, and then I'll let you take it away. Our good friend Clint Russell from Liberty Lock Pod says, why do I wait years for albums? And then Drake and Kendrick are out here turning new tracks
Yeah.
with their with their rap battle right now. Every
I
24
can answer
hours.
that, but
Trying to strike a chord, and it's probably a minor. Yeesh. I heard listening to that
Nice.
today. It was a
Nice.
really good line. I can't play the song, but it's if you guys haven't.
If it's on their scope, they probably won't. They won't claim it. They haven't
It's
been
on
claiming
his
before.
official YouTube, so I don't know.
If it's Vivo, maybe not. But yeah, it's okay.
I'm not gonna play it. It is. Give it a listen, guys, after the show, and I mean, listen to all the tracks.
Just
You
listen to
kind of
all of
see
them,
the story play out.
If you really want to know the whole thing, you start with the J. Cole song where he talks about. all
Clint
three of them.
says to end the tweet, this beef is gonna end with someone in cuffs.
Yeah.
Lamar with the latest shots fired.
Oh, hey. Hell yeah.
There we go, number 2. Thank you guys.
Sick. Thanks, guys.
So yeah, like a nice trap or like house version of this. This is like too like poppy dancey. I think they
It's
should have
got-
like
it's got
they should have
the-
like 3 different ones and a random one plays.
It's got neo 80s vibes. I like it. I like it.
But yeah, Serge,
simple vibes.
tell us.
yeah,
start from
I
the
mean,
beginning. You said it
another-
starts with J. Cole.
Yeah, basically people have been calling them the big 3 for a while. People have been talking about how J. Cole, Kendrick Lamar, and Drake are like the big 3 in hip hop. Which I guess you could say like with art, with like sales, etc. Yeah, they're the
Yeah,
biggest.
J. Cole has
3
his own album now, or sorry, record
Right.
label.
Right. So basically, like J. Cole started this thing, and then he comes out later saying like, I don't want to beef with Kendrick. It's not worth this fighting, because he realizes it's a lose situation to start beef at this level. It's not worth doing it. He backs out of the fight almost immediately. Like
So who
J.
fired
Cole,
the
J.
first
Cole
shot?
started it. J. Cole started it, and then immediately backed out, and then now it's just become.
And who
the-
was it
the
directed
Titan
at?
versus Titan slug.
That's hilarious.
Which some people are saying,
and ran.
right? Literally, people are saying like he just did it just to start it,
shit
and
stir.
then essentially he's doing a great thing, which is to make if they're all the big 3, he makes these 2 guys fight and duke it out, and he can just stand here on his
Work
own
on
and
his
become
craft,
one of the
yeah.
next remaining 2. You know what I mean? And yeah, whoever said this, as Shane said that they're going to end up in cuffs or something like that. I
Clint
think-
Russell, yeah.
Clint said it. I think it's true. Like, there's going to be something going to come out of this that's going to end. It's like all like the Diddy thing. Rumors started flying. The rumors turned into into accusations, and accusations turned into like court proceedings. You know what I mean? Like it's bound to happen. But basically, yeah. Then
So, but when he fired that first shot, J. Cole did. Who was it directed? Was it directed at both of them, or
he first fired at Kendrick.
Okay.
Then Kendrick responded to that, and in that thing he said, "It's not. I'm not big 3. It's just big me." Or it was. I don't know what song it was, but he says it's not big 3. I'm just big.
And that
me."
was Kendrick's
And then that
response.
was and then that was what prompted Drake to not really attack J. Cole, but just go straight after Kendrick. And Drake then called Kendrick short, called him small, like all these things were like just bully behavior. I'm like, dude, you're like the Degrassi. You're like wheelchair.
Yeah,
Jimmy.
yeah,
Like,
when
chill. What's with the whole like anti-bullying rhetoric? Now you're just bullying
right before
people.
the show started, Phil
no.
was on a phone call, and I was trying to tell you that like Drake, you were talking about like Hollywood and stuff in general. I was like, Drake has been Hollywood, right?
Yeah, his
Kendrick
whole life.
came
He's a
from the
product.
streets, right? Drake was a TV kid. I think he was Degrassi was Nickelodeon. Which
Wheelchair
does
Jimmy.
this tie into the whole all that drama that we've been?
I think it's
covering the last month
I think
or so.
it's going to come down the pipe, because if you think that like that this Dan, whatever his name is, guy Schneider was the only guy doing that in this, like, you're crazy. Like, there's a lot more people that are doing that are just better protected, that are more aware of what they should be doing, that are less brazen, etc. That are definitely doing this stuff as well. Maybe that'll come out. I don't know, but he's right saying that. Like Clint's right saying this will end up in cuffs. There will definitely be accusation from this at some point. But I don't know. Now basically the situation is Drake
So J. Cole, I just want to. Not everyone listens to rap. So J. Cole
started it.
starts it directed at Kendrick Lamar. So we got the Atlanta rapper starts it directed at the California Compton born and raised rapper,
Right.
and then backs out. And so
Yeah.
then he responds. And so Drake just basically introduced himself into the situation. it
Yes,
sounds
Drake.
like.
Drake just comes out just swinging at Kendrick almost exclusively, and then he.
Why
puts up the
wouldn't
song.
So he asked for the smoke.
That's
Yeah.
what I'm saying.
Yeah, and then 20 minutes after he does it.
Excuse
like
me,
20
I am
30 minutes
directly
later.
requesting smoke, please.
Yeah, that's literally what he did. And 20 minutes later, like Kendrick put out a track immediately responding to Drake's version, and then 24 hours later puts out another further one after he'd released his response generates Drake saying, "Hey, I'm not like," he calls him a pedophile, and he calls him I took notes on my phone, I forgot what it was, but he also says that like he is rude to his kids, or like I forget what it was. He said there was 2 of the things that he said. But then he responded. He didn't address the accusation of him being a pedophile. And then later on, he says, "I'm just too famous to be a pedophile." In this
Drake
next
said
song,
that.
which is the craziest response to say that I'm too famous
That's
to be a
the
pedophile.
exact
Especially
opposite.
right
We have
now,
a-
is like the craziest thing I've ever heard to
Diddy,
say.
Epstein.
Yeah. It's not a response.
Weinstein.
and it just makes it super suspect. And the fact that like that even the people you don't just get accused of that. And then people are trying to say, oh well, they planted this information. They were trying to get Kendrick to say this stuff, and like. No, well, they're not trying to get that. Like, you don't just get accused of this. Like, it happens. The people in his entourage or Kendrick is literally calling out like 15 or so people. He's saying directly, these people are people that you're promoting, that you're putting on, that are involved in pedophilia stuff. They're involved in child stuff. Like, you don't just get accusations like this. It doesn't just happen.
Last night, I don't know if this is in part of that defense that Drake was using, but Drake did come out and offer a rebuttal. And he says, if I was messing with young girls, I promise I would have been arrested. I'm way too famous. So I'm way too famous for the shit you just suggested. The Epstein angle was the shit I expected. TikTok videos you collected and dissected.
That's in the song. That's lyrics from the song.
Okay.
Yeah, that's in his new response track. But before the response track came out, he didn't even touch on the pedophilia thing. He just like left it alone. Which is crazy. Also, like there's so much more like lore that goes into
that
it. But
famous
the underlying thing here is like whether or not he is, and like just general family values. I was talking about this earlier. Like Kendrick has talked to like he in his most recent one that just came out, Meet the Grams. He starts it out by saying Dear Adonis, which is Drake's younger son, or Drake's I don't know youngest whatever son it is, telling him to be a man, don't do Ozempic like your dad does to get abs, do push-ups, be a real human being, like have honor. Have respect. Look at your dad calling me your dad's calling me short and stuff like that. Like that's such a ridiculous thing to just attack people's stature and things like that. It doesn't bode well. That's bully behavior. You know what I mean? If we're going to be anti-bullying, I think bullying is great. But
not only that, but there's not really content in it. It's like it's like there's not really anything anyone can do. So it's like there's no. It's not really a good diss.
It's like middle school shit.
Exactly. That's my point. It's not. It's then when you have things that actually have substance. Where like you have people that have been previously like in court proceedings or like have been indicted for stuff like in the past, and they're part of the people you're promoting and hiring. They have their own scandals and stuff like that. It's like, yo, in today's like world, and especially just in general, like people like us on our sphere don't like that stuff. We don't support.
Well,
stuff
like,
that.
I mean, if you want to go after
Kendrick's
somebody for like, hey, your rap, your bars are weak. They're silly.
That's one thing.
They're not hard. That's one thing because that's something someone can control.
Right.
Like if you're going after someone for their craft, I think that's fair game.
Or their fair
but those like those qualities of you
ridiculous.
that you cannot change.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what racism is.
Yeah.
It's like, ha ha.
That's the argument,
Yeah. And it's just like, how is that really any different than, yelling at someone for where they were born?
That used to be the argument.
Yeah, but like now Kendrick's even saying to Drake that he has all these black artists and stuff to give him more street cred because Drake is like half Jewish and half white and from Canada and from Toronto and trying to make Toronto seem like this hard city. Like Toronto's probably got hard spaces. I'm sure it does.
Tory Lanez is from Toronto.
Sure, and
but he's like
it's
a
big
singer
city
too.
It's a major international city. I know that will be the case. It's like any city, but it's like just to I don't even mention the fact that he used Drake used Tupac Shakur, an AI version of Tupac Shakur, to diss Kendrick or to like talk to Kendrick to say like you're doing the wrong things, Kendrick. You're doing bad stuff.
So weird.
It's such a weird take from a dude from Canada to use an LA rapper to talk to another LA rapper who is essentially like with the death of I forget his name now, but like he's essentially the golden child of LA rap, and you're just like it's such a weird. Like, why would you do that? Like, it doesn't make any sense. It's
the idea of using if you're in a beef and you're actually making raps where you're dissing someone else and you have some other person actually performing it, like
dude.
Well,
and look at the writers, man. The writers are in Drake's thing are like 5 writers, and Kendrick's thing it's just Kendrick. Like the producers are one thing, but I'm saying the writers are the actual
ghostwriter stuff has kind of followed.
It's not
him.
even really. It's like Kendrick versus Drake's ghostwriters.
Yeah.
It's like I don't know. They're gonna tap out at some point.
Not
like,
that I'm defending
that's your fight.
Drake here, but I will say this is an interesting line though when he says the Epstein angle was something I expected. In the era of Me Too, it is a very convenient thing to be like, oh, you were on Epstein's plane. Like, does Kendrick have any actual evidence of that with all these accusations he's making?
I don't know, but I know that the people that are involved in Kendrick's inner circle within like the OVO brand. That's why in the one song Kendrick also says OVO. Like he's making fun of them because he's talking about that organization. He's not talking about UMG and Lucien. You can like I was talking about how I've talked about in the past before the show too that he's essentially here. Drake is essentially Drake because of Lucien and because of the UMG deal as well. That makes him be this huge guy. there's a lot more beef you get into. Like it gets really deep. Some people think he's involved in Triple X Tentacion's
I heard about
killing
that,
and stuff like that. That's also there's other stuff that goes way deeper. Like all this stuff always does when you're talking about people that have this much money and they're this popular and this influential. But I think like the bigger story is like, okay, well, people are talking about it because it's happening. People are talking about Epstein and stuff like that because it's happening, and where it's finally the cows come home. The cows came home now. Where like it's happening. Like if you've done this stuff, you're gonna end up like Diddy, like R. Kelly, like etc. Like, and he talked about taking the R. Kelly song. He even brings up R. Kelly. Kendrick brought up R. Kelly and says, if you don't want to take R. Kelly stuff off of your label at UMG, then you guys are part of this stuff. Like, and Interscope doesn't claim people's music on YouTube. If you play their record, they're not gonna claim your stuff.
We got a $20
UMG will all the time.
We got a $20
Different
super chat
mentalities,
here
man.
from Rhaegar Targaryen. It says, this is one for you, Phil. I think. Imagine rock bands and their lead singers doing diss tracks to each other, or country bands. Even better, elderly boomer rockers roasting each other back and forth.
Dude.
Also, has anyone seen the Beef documentary? These don't end
Talk
well.
about Fleetwood Mac. Fleetwood Mac was like live on stage, beef between people of the same band on stage.
Really?
Like, it's happened. Like, trust me, this stuff is.
Is there anyone you've ever beefed with? Or
Oh yeah, people have taken shots at me. I made a video.
Do you respond, or you're just like, this is high school shit?
Yeah, I made a video responding to the guy too. It's still on my YouTube page.
What's it called?
I'm not gonna. I'm not looking to start up any more beef.
It's not a song though. It's just a response.
No, it's a response.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
So I'm not looking to stir the pot about it, but
it does.
It does happen.
Yeah, it definitely happens.
There's beef that happens.
Happens in every music. All music can happen.
Axl Rose had beef with a writer from Hit Parader in the '90s, and they wrote a song called "Get in the Ring." He was talking about boxing the guy.
Nice, dude.
You know, so this is normal.
We have another $20 super chat from Megan Nave. She says, today is my daughter Sif's 4th birthday.
Hey,
and
happy
she's
birthday.
a huge metalhead. Her favorite being Rammstein, Shinedown, and Violet Orlando.
Does she speak German?
Does she speak German?
Rammstein's a German band. They sing in German.
Can Phil roar a happy birthday, Sif? It would be it would
Happy
absolutely
birthday,
make her day.
There you go.
Rock on.
Happy
That was
birthday.
awesome. We have another $20 super chat that says, just heard Phil talk about mastering. Agreed. Tech has come so far, even bedroom bands can produce good quality tracks.
True,
Love
that's why I
Divine,
did.
by the way. Maybe check out my stuff, Anger Overdose.
I'll check it out.
Nice, yeah, that's true. That's why like the industry in Hollywood has suffered so much because you don't need people in like a production house to produce stuff anymore. A lot of the stuff can be done like essentially the end level stuff. Even mixing now today, you don't even used to be you need a mix engineer, and that's where I was working.
Well, you know,
That
The
doesn't
only
exist
thing,
anymore.
so we just did the whole record, right?
Yeah.
Finished up. The only thing we went to a quote unquote professional studio for was the drum tracks. Everything like the other stuff we've done, we did in professional studios with professional grade
Recording,
gear
right?
with
Yeah.
professionals.
Yeah.
But you don't have to go to a studio anymore.
Yeah, you can just do it at
studio
home.
is like you can travel. Like our producer came out and we tracked some of the last vocal lines at our studio in Chicopee, and he came with a small just a small box, and it had a computer.
Preamp. Oh
He
yeah.
had a
You
computer-
mean audio interface.
Yeah, had his computer, had an
That's all you
interface,
need.
had the microphone that he wanted to use, that we had used, which the microphone is expensive, but that's the only thing that you
as long as
really
you
end
have
up
a good-
spending money on.
And you're in the room that sounds right for the mic. You're set. Like you don't need it. That's where like that whole industry has just kind of like fallen through the floor.
I remember one of
people
the
were at home during COVID.
One of the studios we checked out for one of our road shows for IRL was a show where that right on the wall when you walked in there, it was like, oh, this album from Trippie Redd the Rapper.
Oh
was
yeah, the
produced
one in
there.
Miami.
Yeah.
Right.
And it was
right,
like,
right.
you know, and it's like I was shocked because I'm not a big musician. I'm not a musician like you guys are. I'm not a magician like you guys are. But I was shocked. I'm like, no way. You're like, yeah, dude, it doesn't. It just takes the right thing.
that's
Not
what
a
I told
lot
you
of
over there.
things.
Yeah,
Listen, there's
that's
a
what
lot.
they're
You'll hear a lot of stories if you go looking around. You'll hear a lot of stories about bands that took over a house, brought all the gear in, brought in a whole, whole mixing console. Like in the 80s and 90s and stuff, like bring in a whole studio.
This is back in the day. That's like
bring
it's
it to
huge.
a house. Travel internationally. Go to the Bahamas. Go to the Caribbean, and like bring a whole ass studio with them and put it into a house just because they wanted to be in that location to do this the record.
Zeppelin did that famous
like
too.
that kind of stuff happened all the time.
Well,
So-
there's the NFL draft was just a couple weeks ago, and the Los Angeles Rams rented out a house right on the beach, and they made that their draft HQ. And they set it all up to have the necessary. I mean, this is not a a music studio, but it's a major NFL team that needs to have insanely good internet. They need to be able to teleconference.
Look at us. Look at
right?
podcast. We do that. We do that on the road. Like it's a very real thing now.
We
This
had
is like
Alex
new
Jones
media.
in a house.
Yeah, we did. In a house,
and
a random
before
house in
that, he
Austin.
was in an RV.
Yeah,
exactly.
A random Airbnb in Austin. That's true.
The last bit of the story with
We
this
had Ron
Drake
Paul
and
there, dude.
Kendrick beef. Yeah,
Speaking
yeah,
of
we did
which,
have Ron
it's-
Paul.
Yeah, it was huge.
So, Serge, you mentioned this that R. Kelly. That's something that Kendrick threatened to pull his music off Spotify because they wanted to pull R. Kelly's music. Well, Spotify actually confirms now that R. Kelly's streaming numbers actually increased 16% since the premiere of Surviving R. Kelly.
Yeah.
Spotify was the first to take action against Kelly, removing his music back in May. It was reversed after Kendrick Lamar threatened to pull his music.
Yeah, J. Cole and Kendrick have both spoken about, even Kanye West has spoken about how a lot of these fools are like botted. That's where my joking name .botnet comes from. It's kind of a joke about how like
Botnet.
all of like the music stuff, all the views and stuff like that are just farmed. It's not real. They're not making these millions. It's like if you listen to the radio, they're in cahoots with the major labels. That's why you hear major label music on the radios, because they're part of the same entity that is mainstream music. If you go to like things like the internet, like if you're on YouTube, there's a lot of dance music on YouTube. I don't know how much. I know there is on other platforms as well within metal and rock, but I'm just saying there are other veins people go to there for the music they personally like the most, other than just like the radio and like the mainstream like stuff that's being put out there. So of course they have incentive to then fudge some views, fudge numbers to put a particular artist in the win for the Oscar. Or like it happened famously with Macklemore when he won against Kendrick years ago, and like in the
that was
beginning
his
of their
debut
career.
album,
Right.
Good Kid, Mad
Yeah,
City,
and
right?
he even said like, I don't deserve to win this, but all the labels and all the discussions between all these heads and stuff.
He was safer.
Right. They put the amount of numbers here and the right things here to make sure that this guy was the guy to be the artist, because they just do that with farming and et cetera and bots and stuff like that. It's just reality of what these things are, and it goes towards that internet theory. Like, are there really this many people listening to this stuff? Is it really as popular as it seems? Are we just being fed this because people own the
right,
capital
but, like,
that is like a network to be distributing this stuff, and we're just seeing?
Let's say
because
you
they're giving it to
own a
us?
chain of, I don't know, Taco Bells, and you're like, what music do I want to put on for all my different locations? How many viewers is that? Like, how many, and you have to think of like not just individual people listening to it, but everywhere that it's being played. Is that one guy that's got 10 locations? So his, or is this, you know what I'm saying? So it's like,
right.
It's hard to track these
Are
analytics
people really,
without.
does it really count as a mechanical work because people are not really actively listening to it? That's the thing I
That's
think
what
about.
sucks about like digital sales, or like they happen, but it's streaming, and it's hard to really figure out who is doing well, who's doing better than others.
There's so much fake stuff on there too. There's so many fake numbers.
Right, and it's
just
just like
the truth. It's
radio
reality.
stations, and you have YouTube stations. You have streamers that play music in the background, so that counts. It's like, are they really listening to it? Are they just fans, or they know it's safe for the stream?
But that's like with Phil's band.
and stuff.
People actually actively listen to Elder Remain, so you know that all his numbers are legit.
But it's so much harder than just buying a
That's also
record
because
or a
that's also-
CD.
That's also because we don't have a label, right? Like
Right.
I'm
You're independent.
We released it.
Yeah.
We got a distribution deal, and that's it. There's not actually like no one else is helping promote or anything. It's all me and my.
That's
team.
why you know it's you. That's
Yeah.
why you know there's not another thing underneath. That's why I can see a release, and I've seen stuff where it releases and I see the amount of views that go, okay, maybe this artist would have that many views there, but it seems like unlikely.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like there's no way you have that many views right and like that fast, like no way. And then I watch other stuff there's like the whole issue with. Apparently, Joe said there was an issue with the Tucker Carlson posting video. Like, there was an issue with he posted, and that's why the views were low. But I see that happen on IRL all the time too.
But
like,
I was going to say
just
the Twitter
discrepancies
views
are just too much to.
Elon touts. It's a lot of times he'll talk about, look
Body
how
on
many
X is
look how
huge.
many posts
Yeah.
this Twitter post got. But like, is that just because I scrolled real quick? Like I know there's
Right.
something in the algorithm, like whether it's 0.5 seconds or 2 seconds, like how much time is that actually being shown on a device? But
this is real stuff, and it affects culture. The thing about this stuff is it affects culture. Like I was talking about earlier, there's no value assigned to this stuff. It's just the attention paid. There's no like upvote or downvote system on it. Just like whether it's good or bad, no one can tell. You just it's
there's
just the attention paid.
and many shows have done this, but there's a show of Seth MacFarlane's it's a parody of Star Trek. I can't think of what it's called. The Orville.
Yeah.
And there's an episode where they go to this planet where they all look human, but they have the whole society it's like a true democracy. Like upvote, downvote, right? So if someone gets punished for a crime, it's an upvote, downvote system.
Interesting.
And the whole, everyone has smartphones or like a little clicker, and they upvote or downvote. And it's like the whole episode centered around why that was problematic. It seems great. Everyone gets a say.
Because no one has any idea the right answer.
Right.
Like honestly, most people think like the idea of a direct democracy would absolutely destroy the country, even with the technology that we have. Just because too many people would be voting entirely blind to any of the conditions and context about what they're voting on.
Well, we want to rule with like with a golden fist immediately when we don't really know the situations. That's what you said reminded me of what I wanted to say about the Star Wars earlier. Is in the 70s when the Star Wars movie came out, a lot of people saw parallels to that, and it was like kind of like a take on Nazi Germany. The empires,
they're literally called stormtroopers.
But you got to realize, what was the first movie? 77. So it's like it was 30
years,
almost 40 years. Probably like 40 years after World War II.
Well, 30 years.
30 years, but like from the start of the regime and everything, almost 40 years of World War II had passed before they decided to comment on it. Now with the current Star Wars and Marvel movies, they're commenting on things that are still being fleshed out in the public sphere of debate.
Right now, right.
So it's like they're jumping the gun. They're trying to say this is how it is.
Right. I want to quickly point out too that we're talking about just media, the upvoting media and downvoting content, like stuff that you see on the internet that's content. Like when you took away the downvote thing, that was the biggest loss in my opinion, because you can still get it, you can still generate it. Luckily, they still have it there, but like that's what I'm referring to. Not talking about like that upvote downvote culture you're talking about. That's not what I mean.
But it is. But like as people become more chronically online, that is what we're unfortunately that. Reddit is a great example.
Oh yeah, that is upvote downvote culture.
So and that's just increasing. Like if like Netflix, there's Netflix has this thing where if it doesn't get an X amount of views within the first week of release, forget about reviews, forget about total views after a year. If it doesn't get a number of views within a week, they're like, this is not worth it for us. Bye. And some of the best shows have been canceled for this reason.
That's music too.
And it's like, well, did you release on a holiday weekend? Was it over the Christmas season where people are not watching Netflix releases? They're watching old Christmas movies or spending time with their, none of that gets taken into account.
Was your marketing competent?
Well, they think so. I mean, they think this is their marketing. They think this is the true tale to figure out like their direction for projects.
They're in their own little bubble. That's what I'm saying. They're in their own little world. They have their own little isolated thing that's really just held up by their capital and by their network and by their structures that they've created. It's like if we just don't play into it, we don't. They're unbeholden to it. Like they don't control us.
I mean, nowadays also like it is so you can get data so granular now, and you can respond to that if you want to, or you can ignore it. And I guarantee there is a lot of information that Disney and whatever content, because I know what kind of information I can get for All That Remains. We've been getting data coming in all weekend, and there's been a lot of surprises about who listens to All That Remains, who, like.
It's always fascinating.
Yeah, I've been really, really surprised at who's actually listening to the songs and stuff. And
your demo.
Yeah, and it's like, it's great that I have that ability now, because now we can focus our target, or we can focus our marketing. We can go ahead and say, where is it that we think people will listen that haven't been? Who do we think we're missing? Who is listening? Who do we need to go ahead and spend some more money on to access these people? What other things do those people listen to that we might target those fans? It's like those kind of things are possible. And all of these big companies can do far more than I can do, because I'm only talking about what YouTube offers us or what Spotify offers to the creator. Because essentially my level is maybe one step above like your average regular content creator, right? Like, because I have staff and I have people that have worked in the business that I'm in external to like YouTube, right? Like, so our guys are from the old music industry and they've been evolving with the trends and with the technology and stuff like that. But it's been a long time since I put anything out. We haven't put out a record since 2018. So it's like everything's different for now.
At least they're still doing, I think Disney still does like panels. Like that's why the Snow White was shelved with the 7 politically correct dwarves or whatever it was, or friends or allies, comrades, whatever word they use. I think they're trying to bring it back for like I don't know what they're doing. I don't keep track of like Snow White, but I know they did like they got really bad results from this panel that they had, and I'm like, okay, well that's like where did they find these people? Like who is invited to the panel? I don't know. I think of the same way when you talk about polling. I've never been asked a single time for a poll or anything like that. I see Twitter like polls. It's like, hey, have you seen a Ford ad in the last 7 days? I see that kind of stuff. But I've never gotten like an email or a call or someone on the street with a clipboard be like, what do you think about this?
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm like, who are these people that they're finding and asking?
I don't know.
And that just opens up a whole other can of worms.
Yeah, I don't know. Ian talks about that a lot, but that's just that comes down to like the issue with sampling, and it's a whole thing. Like I have a degree in statistics essentially, and like that's always the issue. Is like, are you taking the right? Like if you have a polluted lake and you go to the one part of the lake where it's not really that polluted, or it's like furthest isolated since the incident that polluted the lake, and you take the water from there, it looks perfectly fine. But the reality is the lake is 80% polluted, but you got the water from the 20%. Like, is it really an accurate representation of the population? Is the sample an accurate representation of the population? You never know. I don't know. It's like yeah.
Let's go to Super Chat so we can get in our last story.
Can I just get some water?
Yeah, go for it.
No,
man.
you can't drink water.
Yeah, you're in trouble, sir.
Not allowed.
Sir Rank Productions says anthropomorphized. Oh, you almost got me there. Animated animals, Lion King. Let me make this full screen real quick. Lion King and etc. are the cause of furries. I don't know. Do you think so? Those movies have been around for a very long time. I mean, maybe like.
I think furry comes from sex, not from other things. I think there's a sexual part first before anything else.
Well, you've seen those Disney, like the hidden messages in Disney and all
yeah.
covers
I mean,
stuff.
I don't know.
Maybe there's something there, but I at this point,
I don't find it compelling.
Reach. Yeah, I need to see more.
Yeah, I don't find it compelling.
Grofty says, smash the like button like a furry would.
Dude.
Gordon Shumway says, Little Richard is going to rise from the dead and backhand JoJo and say, shut up. Big Floppa says, I blame Renamon from Digimon and Crystal from Star Fox for turning me into a furry. If you know, you know.
I don't want to know.
I don't know. I remember Digimon, but I don't.
Yeah, Digimon was cool.
I don't know.
I don't know. I think that is what it is. It's like these weird, not necessarily call them weird. I don't know. You can do whatever you want to do, but these associations kids made in childhood towards sexuality and stuff like that was maybe overt or subvert. I don't know, but I think that's where it comes from. I don't know.
Olivia Clare says, for everyone asking, Mocha kidnapped Brett and is holding him for ransom right now in the form of justice. This is all we have. This is all the info we have. Well, we've got money guns here, so like, hopefully this is enough. It's
there's a lot of money. There's a lot of money on the table.
It says 100% real money right here. So
yeah, this is all real currency.
Yeah, talk to your cat, maybe some catnip or something. Maybe we can figure something out. Pat the plumber says, "Oh ish, it's the infamous Surge.com. What up, homie? Who are these other two buffoons?"
Dude, I am here in the flesh.
Clint Torres with no message. What's up, Clint?
Hey, Clint, how you doing?
Hello, Clint.
Clint. People are really wondering where you've been in the IRL chat.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're there on point every night, and you just disappeared. Dude, he did what J. Cole did.
He did.
Yeah.
See ya.
He did. He just peace out. That's
Left a
point.
legend.
Yeah.
Tacty Platty says, Destiny also let other guys bone his wife. No cap. Is that true? That is true. He's like admitted to that?
He was in a, well, he
I know
always
that
said he
relationship
was.
is no more.
Yeah, but he always said he was in a polyamorous.
Yeah, they were in an open relationship.
Oh, okay. But was he there while it happened?
I don't.
No.
That's just the implication, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think he's actually like into cuck stuff. I think at first I thought that I saw him post something a couple weeks ago and I thought it was serious, but apparently I was like, is this true?
Yeah.
But apparently it's not.
It's just an open relationship, not the same as like a Sneeko situation.
Which look, I mean,
I don't think that
Sneeko was actually cucked, huh?
Yeah.
Wow. Why did he do that?
I don't know why he did it. I don't know why he admitted it.
How did he survive that?
I don't know. Dude, now he has a Muslim girlfriend who wears a full burqa and now communicates to chat that he streams on Kick to chat by using a whiteboard and writing what she wants to say to chat. But we don't even know if it's really his quote unquote wife
Seems
or
like an
girlfriend
act.
or whatever. Yeah, it could be anybody that he hires
Hilarious.
to wear this thing.
Yeah, because it doesn't have to be the same person. All I need is someone to sit under the burqa.
I think people that end up doing stuff like that, whether it's gross furry stuff or that, like what Sneeko's doing,
Islamification.
I think no, like the cuck stuff.
Oh yeah,
like
okay.
I think
That's before.
I don't think he's doing that.
I compare it to riding roller coasters. If you ride a bunch of roller coasters as a kid,
Right.
you're not going to do it when you're older. So these people have just been way too down in the dirty that they need to find the excitement. They need to find the novice
or whatever gets views. Because remember, we don't.
And it could also be just because of social media.
All this content doesn't go through the sieve of being good or bad, and then it gets promoted to being good or bad. It gets promoted because of the algorithm, and whether attention is paid to it. So if it's bad, people will still watch it and pay attention to it because they're mad about it, whatever, hate watching it, and then it drives the money up, and it gives them a reason to then say, okay, well, we can make money on this. Let's do it again in the future, and that's what drives this whole train.
Clint Torres with another super chat says, "Howdy, people. Phil,
Howdy.
don't forget to do the thing."
Yeah.
What thing?
Go to the gym.
Oh,
Nice.
Do the thing.
Pick up stones.
Dude, you see we have weights and stuff.
Oh, hell
Nice. That's 3. Hell yeah, guys. Thank you.
Nice.
Yeah, is that you in there?
Or it might be.
Sounds a little bit like you saying "let's go."
It could be.
Yeah, there's above the new IRL studio we have weights and yeah. Well, there's what else? Resistance bands.
Someone brought them bad boys up on into the loft.
I think it's a new one. Yeah.
Why?
Yep.
I don't know.
And they have a lat pull down. Or it's like I don't even know. It's like a multi-use. Like there's a pull-up
There's
bar.
more and more stuff in there. Like Tim wants to get a little mini, like tech deck skate parks made of wood, like a Berlinwood skate park, just a replica of the skate park. So we can just have it up
Upstairs.
We
there.
should put it
so
in
if
like
you
a
don't
glass
skateboard-
dome and then make like little minute. You know how you
He needs
No.
it needs lights up there.
You know,
I
like
agree.
the
Lighting is bad.
You know, like the
agree,
realistic
100%.
dollhouses. You ever seen those? Like the realistic
yeah.
dollhouses, where it's like recreations of actual. They should do that, but for the studio. And you could even have like
Oh,
the money.
yeah.
You can have like mini money guns and stuff. And
Yeah, you can do that.
Put it in little glass domes so no one messes it up. We'll get one more, and then we'll go to the last story. Preston Waterbury says, "Hey Phil, I've been working on harsh vocal techniques. Just got the Melissa Cross Zen of screaming.
Sick.
Do you use those warm ups or something else?"
I do use those ones still, and I've been using them for 20 years. So since I did the first DVD with Melissa, which was 2004, maybe 2003 or 2004. Since I did that first DVD with her, I've been doing the same warm up, and I use a vocal doctor. It's an exercise machine essentially for your diaphragm.
What's the one that Carter uses?
I don't know.
It's like a little water
It
bottle
looks like a
that he
bubbler.
like humps
Yeah,
into.
I have the same thing. Yeah, and all it is just to exercise your diaphragm, give some kind of resistance to your diaphragm.
A lot of singers do it.
Yeah.
All right. So we'll go to the last story now. Do you guys remember that day, maybe a couple years ago, when Chris Rock was doing a stand-up bit, and another famous actor went up onto the stage,
Classic,
and slapped him
And embarrassed himself.
Well, you're not supposed to do that. And with this story, Tom Brady had a roast last night. Roast of Tom Brady. It was streamed live to Netflix. I watched a
Brady did
little
nothing
bit
wrong.
of it. Did you guys check any of it out?
I just saw Tony Hinchcliffe. Tony Hinchcliffe was the GOAT.
Well, Tom Brady had his own Will Smith-esque moment. We've got this.
No way. Are you serious?
Sort of. It wasn't as bad as Will Smith, and I, society, you should live and learn, right? But we've got this clip where Jeff Ross. It was Jeff Ross, right?
Yeah.
The roast master. Yeah.
He's the old GOAT. I think
The
he's
OG
kind of
guy.
passing that on to Hinchcliffe right now.
Well, it was his turn to get up there and roast Tom Brady, and this is how it went down. Volume's low, but.
Would you like a massage? I love Robert Kraft. I love that shit again. Okay.
So I know the volume's low.
okay.
I've got the clip
I don't
maxed
understand.
out.
I don't understand. So
I'll give some back. I'll give some back.
Jeff Ross, a big roast comic, makes fun of somebody. And
So
then
it was the
somebody
roast of
gets mad.
Tom Brady. Many famous celebrities.
That was way more mild than Will Smith.
Yeah, but you don't do that.
No, you're right. You don't.
Especially, and to be fair, Will Smith wasn't at a roast of Will Smith. But
Yes.
To give you background, so Robert Kraft is the owner of the New England Patriots football team. I'm pretty sure he pled guilty, or there's a plea deal of some sorts, but he was getting inappropriate massages.
Oh, that's right.
And Jeff Ross.
I don't know.
That was
fun
great.
of
That was a good one.
I don't know if
That
there
was
was.
good.
I
I
don't
think
know.
he settled.
I don't know.
Either way,
I thought
there
that-
was a case about it. It was mainstream news. You might be right, Phil. I'll look it up. But he was accused of this.
Yeah.
It played out in court, and Tom Brady was, his quarterback, face of the NFL at the time.
Yeah.
So Jeff Ross pokes fun at that. And at a roast, as we all know, like an official roast, all things are on the table. Like nothing is off limits. Well, Tom Brady gets up there, and then you can see, whispers in his ear, and he gets picked up on the mic. He says, "Don't say that ish again."
Yeah.
So, Tom, no one forced you to do this roast. and you knew people, and it gets
This
way
is
worse.
Jeff Ross,
It gets
too.
way worse than this too.
Yeah, it does.
Well, did it?
So-
So does it get worse in Tom Brady's opinion, or does he
Brady-
stay seated the rest of the time?
He stayed seated for the rest of the time, but he was seen just throwing back the drinks, looking a little bit uneasy, and you don't get up like a roast. People are going to find and try to dig deep because they want to have the most shock content moment. And so you don't get up out of your seat, and especially if he thought that was funny to get up there and do that, like maybe he was making fun of Will Smith. Maybe that's what Tom Brady was doing. I didn't find the humor there. It just seemed awkward.
I mean,
it seemed weird.
So, in my opinion, it was wrong for him to get up. Like you kind of shouldn't do that, and it was wrong because he looked bad. He didn't do anything, right? So the Will Smith stuff, he committed assault.
But this
right?
is-
So no, but hold on.
Sure.
He committed assault. He got up and he actually hit someone. It's bad form what Tom did. Like if you go to a roast, you're gonna get roasted. Like that's gonna happen. I understand it, but they're significantly different because of the assault, right? Like because someone was assaulted, and I mean, and also the context of the whole like the situation of Jada and stuff.
Yeah.
It's a very weird, creepy thing.
Yeah.
So
It's been
I think that the Tom should have. Look,
was bad.
you don't go on a roast if you
Right.
can't. If everything isn't on the table.
And
so
I think the reason I brought up Will Smith is because that's what Twitter kind of lit up with. Like, oh my gosh, this was about to be another Will Smith moment. I think it was bad enough that that's what came to people's minds, right? The guy that was getting made fun of stormed the stage. Definitely different circumstances. Will Smith and Tom Brady are very different people. They have very different life experiences. The set of circumstances around the whole thing was
Kraft
very
was
different.
cleared of the charges.
He was cleared?
He was cleared. So this
Okay.
is that was like it's just so it's hearsay and blah blah blah. So.
Okay, my apologies there. But yeah, like it was mainstream news. You gotta know
it's still Jeff Ross.
they're
too.
gonna bring
Like,
it up.
It's Jeff Ross, man. Like,
And when
he's,
you have-
he's one of the most well-known roast comics.
And when
in
you
the world.
have
gonna do
multiple people up there,
everyone got it too. That's the thing about it. Is like Kim Kardashian got it like
Yep.
heavily from Hinchcliffe.
Yep.
Like everyone got it, and that's the thing about roast. Is like everyone's gonna get something, and like you have to be willing to be like, hey.
Now, well, before we move on to Kim Kardashian and everything, we had a surprise appearance from
But you won't be
Ron
forgotten.
Burgundy.
Yeah.
You'll always be remembered as Eli Manning's bitch.
He actually, after this clip, it's not in this one.
That
he
was
actually
actually
got
worse.
the whole crowd to start chanting that.
Eli.
Yeah, no, you are Eli Manning's little B. So
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I thought that was
That's
really
wor-
funny.
That's actually worse than the Kraft comment.
I can imagine.
because it's true. Because it's true.
No, because it's not true. Because Eli Manning didn't win both those games. That ball, the magic catch, is
Who
what
was it?
won.
Oh.
That has nothing to do with Eli Manning.
Was it Plaxico Burress that caught it?
I think
or was
so.
it a,
It was the
or was it
old-
Monty Toomer?
I don't remember who it was that
But
did
yeah,
the catch. It was
iconic.
it was incredible.
Both games had insane catches.
Yeah, oh
The
yeah,
helmet
it was
one
insane.
Iconic. But
Insane. Could not believe it.
Yeah.
That's what's funny though. That's the joke.
Yes.
Like, and it's why
Yeah.
that's the whole funny part. That's the point. It's not meant to be like an actual like attack on your. We're not putting you at like to trial here. People miss that with roast. It's like it's just funny. You have to laugh at reality, and if you can't laugh at reality, then you have no business commenting on it, in my opinion.
Just don't. Yeah, and again, you shouldn't go on roast if there are things, if there are very public things that you're not willing to laugh about and joke about, like all the stuff that's going to piss you off.
Well,
you know the things that bother you, right?
Phil-
and if there are things that bother you that are out in public, you probably shouldn't put yourself in a position where someone's going to go ahead and be like, "Hey, remember that thing that bothers you?
Yeah.
Poke, poke, poke."
I agree, but I think Kim Kardashian would like a word after you said that because she was not the subject of the roast battle, but when she got up there, she was invited to do the roast.
It doesn't matter if you're there.
She got up there.
You're fair game.
She barely even opened her mouth, and she got booed by the entire arena.
Well, thank you. I know a lot of people make fun of your height.
Tom Brady's height?
All
Yeah.
right, all
Is he-
right.
I've never heard that before.
How tall is he?
6'3", I
he
think.
just came up there and sort of dissing people's height, so it's like, oh,
Dude, it got so
this
bad.
girl-
He's 6'3".
Did you hear this though? It got so bad. Someone's like, "Whoa," like trying to
Yeah.
appease
I
the
know
crowd.
a lot of people make
Watch it
fun
one
of
more
your
time.
height.
Don't care. Billionaire don't care.
All right, all right.
Like, oh, too bad she got booed. Like, that's the price you get, honey. That's what you get.
No one
That's-
cares.
I
No one
think
cares.
it's
Don't
one of
care.
those things that people are like, why are you here?
Why is she there?
What do you?
No,
What do
I'm
you?
serious.
You're
Why
not
is
in
she
that.
there?
You know, like you're just famous for being famous. That's always been her
That's
thing.
why she's there.
That's not what she's famous for.
Sure.
She's famous for her exploits.
But
in the-
before
with the
that,
NFL.
that was only notable because she was already famous.
Right.
Her mom,
dad.
her dad was famous.
Yeah.
She wasn't famous really. Her dad was famous, and that her mom put that on the internet, and that's what made them all into the Kardashians. You know.
That was
then obviously being helped by being friends with Paris Hilton and all that stuff too.
Yeah.
Back in the day.
Yeah.
So we actually, it's gotten bad, and then the reason I showed you guys the Kim Kardashian article is to show you. I'm going to bring up the duality again. So you've got the reaction of Twitter, you know, the public forum, the mass consensus of people, and then you've got mainstream media. So if you do a quick Twitter search for Tony Hinchcliffe, right? I did this earlier. I'll play this clip too because he absolutely owned, but it's very explicit.
He's so
but
sharp right
you
now.
can see
His show keeps
every
him so sharp.
post about Tony Hinchcliffe when he got up there and did his routine, his 2 minutes of roasting. Everyone said, "Oh my God, that was amazing!
Dude,
He
his
did
belt buckle.
amazing."
And his big belt buckle too. The Texas belt buckle is sick.
Yeah, yeah. So
Class, man.
everyone's saying he stole the show tonight, right? I'm so glad Netflix did the right thing and had the king of roasting on, Sir Tony Hinchcliffe, right?
Here.
All of Twitter, you keep scrolling. They're all applauding Tony Hinchcliffe.
He ripped them apart.
And then we're
it was
gonna go-
all legit. It was just bare bones.
Everyone was on. Yeah, everyone was
it was bare bones, dude.
in his sights.
If you're gonna be out there, it's even Nikki Glazer or something like that. Like,
And then we'll jump over to Newsweek. Tony Hinchcliffe slammed for misogynistic Kim Kardashian joke.
Oh my God. It's so
why is
exhausting.
Newsweek saying
And, you know,
this?
The
is-
Independent. Tony Hinchcliffe faces backlash from misogynistic
dude.
Kim Kardashian.
Listen,
joke
they
at
have
Tom Brady roast.
they have this stuff on the brain. They have social justice on the brain. And the reason, another thing, and I'm not that I'm trying to get into this topic, but the kid that was making ostensibly racist behaviors toward the black woman at the college, right? That happened, and the whole talk of Palestine and Israel stopped. And they were just like racist white kid, racist white kid, and they every single media outlet was talking about it.
Kicked him out.
What?
The frat kicked him out.
Oh, did they really? Yeah. So like all of this happens because now whether or not it was racist, people are going to argue about. I don't care. It was if it was intended to offend the person, and that's what it did. But the fact that everyone stopped talking about what is ostensibly an important topic to talk about something that is literally inconsequential in the grand scheme of things. This woman getting, him making those behaviors towards a woman has zero consequences. The actual situation in Palestine has significant consequences for a lot of people. And the fact that the media instantly said this is more important, and they did it ubiquitously across all of the media. This is the important thing to talk
All in
about.
one fell
That
swoop.
shows that it is totally true that the American people do not hate the media enough. They are not hated nearly enough. You should hate them with every fiber of your being, and you should mock them every chance you get. If you see them in public, laugh at them, point, and call them names.
And in my opinion, there was jokes that were way worse than anything said about Kim Kardashian. Now, the joke, the one that I'll read that he said, I laughed out loud at. He said, "Kim, word of advice, close your legs. You've got more public beef than Kendrick and Drake."
ooh, nice.
Pretty good. It made me laugh.
That was the last joke,
Now,
I think, too.
there was multiple comics and celebrities that went up there and joked about Aaron Hernandez's death. And he's, if you guys don't know who that is, he's a guy that he was convicted of murder, ended up harming himself, which led to his death while he was in prison. And I just think it's in poor taste to joke about someone that can't defend themselves. And that's an opinion. Some people disagree. They'll say, I don't have enough backbone. Regardless, I think that's arguably worse than having someone that's also there. Kim Kardashian is there. She can clap back, as they say. She can respond to Tony Hinchcliffe. But no, that's what the media focuses on her.
It's acceptable
Not
because Aaron Hernandez was a murderer.
Right.
He was a
And I
convicted
get it. But,
murderer, not just like
but
he
the fact that
maybe
like
did
so
it.
many different people chose to make jokes about it, I'm like, wow, it just feels like doubling down, tripling down. The joke once, okay, haha, I get it, right? But Kim, like, first, he's just not there to say anything, or he's not even alive in prison to say
And it doesn't
anything.
really have anything to do with Tom.
And I don't really
Right?
care
It's just-
about.
it's not.
No. I don't really care about Aaron Hernandez all that much. I'm just kind of bringing that up as an example to show what the media focused on, right?
There's others to be offended about, and that's what they're focused on.
Right. Like there's other things that were far worse worse if you're gonna pick anything out. Yet they choose Kim Kardashian.
Yep.
Well, they choose Kim Kardashian because they could say misogyny.
And they chose Tony
Yes.
Hinchcliffe, who's been canceled in the past for being like a controversial comic.
Yeah.
And that's how Tony Hinchcliffe became so popular. And he has a famous show on YouTube and is like the new upcoming,
Yes.
like he is the new Jeff Ross in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And this is what he's always done. They were like, oh, he said mean thing. Yeah, that's his whole thing. He has mean
Yeah,
things
and everyone
said about
laughed
him.
about it, dude. That's
Right.
the point.
It
Like,
didn't
everyone
work
thought it was
out,
funny.
man. We went to Austin a year ago for IRL, and I wanted to go see Kill Tony so badly because
Yeah,
we
they
were
had
right
just moved,
there.
though.
We were right there, but it didn't work out.
We were in where they shot it in the Vulcan, where they were
Well,
shooting
the
previous
old.
episodes.
I think he's at Comedy
Yeah,
Mothership now.
he is now. Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
But it
I
had
think
just opened when we got
they
there.
had like a week off, or the days just didn't line up, so we didn't get the chance. But I'm like that's when I knew we were going to Austin. That's the first name that came to my mind. I was,
It's
that's
so
how
hard to
big
get tickets
he
for
is.
that. Yeah, it's
You
hard
know?
to get tickets for it. It's extremely popular on the internet. Everyone likes it. Like he gets made fun of all the time. Like it's not like he's like saying, "Oh, you can't make fun of me." It's like, but this is what a roast is.
Yeah.
And he just happens to be really good at it.
And
so.
his delivery too. Like you can't
Yeah.
just be crafty.
Yeah.
You have to.
He's a great comic. He's one of the great comics. He's like solidifying his name as one.
I encourage everyone watching to go and check out the roast. It's long, but it was a pretty
It's
good
worth
time. But so Jeff Ross, who's considered the OG, the father of roasts, he made him look bad. That's how good Tony Hinchcliffe is. He made Jeff Ross look bad.
Wow.
Yeah, and so everyone's got different senses of humor. You might disagree with me, but I think
Jeff Ross was also disrupted during his whole thing because of that thing, and I think that probably threw his delivery. He doesn't really throw in very easily, but it's really such a weird. It was a time when he wasn't expecting it. I think.
Yeah.
I think that was just like I was like, well, it's not. I'm not having a conversation with you like expecting you to clap back. It's just like, well, this is kind of my moment. This is a roast. This is when I'm allowed to speak on the mic and say what I need to say.
Yeah, and then to finish up the article, the Vulture actually did write about Kim Kardashian being booed. They said when we say everybody is beefing, we mean everybody. This year started off with Cat Williams versus every comedian. Continue with Megan Thee Stallion versus Nicki Minaj and Drake. Kendrick Lamar picked up where Megan left off, and now entering the ring is Kim Kardashian. I wanted just to briefly bring this article up because it kind of touches it sums up everything we've seen over the last handful of months and kind of what we talked about today.
But she's not in the ring. Like
no. Well, that's what upset me. I'm like, why are you here?
She's
like,
not.
You're not dating anybody here.
Irrelevant.
Don't
care.
Just because she's famous. You know, she's one of those people that's famous for being famous now.
I think it was because there was rumors of her and Tom Brady dating after. After Kanye.
God, I hope not.
Wow.
Yeah, because Giselle
crazy.
and they totally picked apart the situation with him and Giselle, his ex-wife.
Wow,
but I think
that's
after
crazy.
that happened, there was rumors of Kim Kardashian and Tom Brady, and that might have been why she was invited.
I hope not.
Yeah, but check it out, guys. I think it did live up to the hype. It's not often I can say that these days, but I think the roast was very entertaining, and it was on Netflix, which Comedy Central must be kicking themselves right now because it's probably one of the biggest events we'll see all year.
Totally, and shout out to Kill Tony in general. Just all those guys.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's go to Super Chats, and we'll finish up. Where do we leave off? Pat the Plumber says, Divine is heavy. Love it,
Cheers.
Phil. Good stuff.
Thank you very much.
I haven't listened to it a couple
Yeah,
times.
Andrew Mix was like,
sick.
how many times have you guys listened to Divine today? He's like, I'm on my 13th listen.
That rules.
Grafty with the super chat says, the cringe is inhumane today. Cruel and unusual treatment.
I agree. They shouldn't be allowed to subject us to this, dude. It's like human experimentation. It's crazy how this the pain that I feel in my brain when I see stuff like this.
Very high levels of cringe. That's true.
Dude.
You love it. Well, you're just building up that scar tissue on your soul. All right?
On your soul.
I have so much already, and the fact that it gets through that shows how impressively cringy it is.
Corey Anderson says, I hate Star Wars. The only thing that hasn't been destroyed is John Williams. He's 92 and probably doesn't have much time left. That's really dark, Corey, but I agree.
He's probably, I was going to say.
It's
dark,
true,
right.
but yeah. Pat the Plumber says, why was Rogue One so good and the rest so bad? That's a question for Brett. I'm sure he could just instantly be like, oh, exactly. He would instantly be able to name the director and everything.
Yeah.
That's probably what it was. We got a $20 super chat that just came in. It says, Phil, thanks for the mini roast on the musicians. I pull in from my Friday super chat. While the assumption of me using SKA horns was not accurate,
Ska.
thank God. Oh, ska horns.
Scott
okay.
Horns, yeah.
But thank God, it definitely made me take a look at my songs and their production.
Awesome,
That was from
man.
Jared
Cheers.
Price.
Good, man.
War Maniac 209 says, F Trudeau. I hate it.
I
Thanks.
agree.
That guy ruined my country and just ruined Star Wars even more for me. Would he be a Sith? He'd probably be a Sith
I don't
Lord.
know. Maybe.
The bad guys. He would not be a Jedi.
Yeah.
Or he's like the
He's-
Jedi that they give all the bad jobs to. Like, you got to go
He's
clean
like the kind of guy that thinks
the
he's doing a good
bathrooms.
thing and he's really doing the bad thing. And then when he finds he's doing the bad thing, he's like, oh, well.
He reminds me of like when Tim talks about Jack Dorsey's fall from grace. That's how Trudeau reminds me, except all the time.
He's the guy that has to go wash the younglings' blood off the walls.
Yeah.
Hey, get Jover's just to that. Anakin had another episode.
Go pick up all the body parts.
Oh man, Tacti Platy
Dark.
says Phil.
Yes.
Dax was the slug symbiote in.
Oh yes,
Jadzia,
yes.
Jadzia.
I know that it wasn't 100% the exact same thing. I get it. I know, but like still, it was approached in a, because if that was today, it would have been trans. It would have been like exactly like human beings are now. Like or the stories human beings tell now. So
What era was this? Late 80s or mid 80s? When is
this is Deep Space Nine. I think it was the 90s.
90s? Oh, okay. I don't know anything about it. I know nothing about Star Trek, so I don't know what anything relates to as far as time frames.
It was. I liked it. I liked Deep Space Nine a lot. I thought it was good. So.
Pat the Plumber says, Olivia Claire, tell Brett that Kellen did not do Cute of the Day. No, I didn't, because I just had to give you guys the cringe, and it was an insane weekend. There was a lot of like
you're
pop
on
culture news
on the
from
boys cast too. Also, like, do you really can we really do cute? We're dudes.
I went to
we're guys. Should we?
I went to an
picking cute
animal
things?
sanctuary this weekend. I was like, oh, I could pull a few pics, but I was like, nah.
Yeah. Sorry.
The Ninja from Pop Culture Planet says, is it just me, or is it every time I hear May the 4th, I just hear Mike Tyson trying to say the real phrase, asking for research? Suncoast Samurai says, I hope that Brent and Marnie will bring
Yikes.
Serge on a regular basis.
Marty.
He's very knowledgeable in general pop culture and has an international perspective.
She's gonna hate that.
See, when I tell Serge he's a foreigner, he gets mad at me. But when
Yeah,
you
I'm
say it, it
American.
sounds like a compliment.
I'm American, but I'm an American who immigrated here. That means I have some culture, but I despise people calling themselves something American. It's like, you're an American, you know what I mean? Like, if you're American, you're American. You signed up, you're part of. If you're legally part of America, you're American, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I used to work in Hollywood, so I know stuff about music and stuff. But I appreciate that, whoever that was. Thank you.
Corey Anderson says, speaking of Sexy Red, you have to check out a song called DDLG by PP Cocaine.
Nah,
No.
nah, I'm all right.
That'll be the next cringe. Maybe.
Yeah, who knows? I might look at it. Who knows? We'll see.
Sorry, it just jumped on me.
Yeah, it's been doing that on
As it
IRL
does.
too.
Yeah.
Keeps doing that.
Mr. Anderson says Majority Rule was the Orville episode I was talking about, season 1. Yeah. So
Okay.
that's the one where they like upvote and downvote their whole society,
Oh,
vote for
okay.
president, vote on laws, everything.
Interesting.
Corey Anderson says, Phil, can't wait to see you in Richmond. Will All the Remains be doing a headlining winter tour afterwards? Do you like playing big venues or smaller ones?
Depends on the show as to big venues and smaller ones. It all depends on the show, honestly. There's a lot of things that can go into it. There are times where smaller venues are cool. There are times where bigger venues are cool. So if it's raining, I definitely don't like big venues because usually they're outdoors with and you're getting rained on and stuff. But then again, one of the coolest shows I ever played was literally in the pouring rain. So I don't know that I have one.
Mr. Anderson says, Phil, I listened to the latest song when a Twitch VTuber put it on for me to hear. Shout out to Lord Crimson TV.
Awesome. I got no hate for VTubers.
High Voltage says, someone get the Clippers. I think Serge is ready to have his head shaved live on PCC again. Didn't you mention something about that?
I was talking about that a while ago, but I think the reason that I don't care about cutting my hair is like when I was living in California, I was surfing a lot, so I'd pop out of the water and the hair would get in my face and it'd be like annoying to have in my eyes. I don't surf here, I can't, so I don't really have that happen.
You get
so
a
I'm
bowl
kind of at the
cut?
point now, but at the skate park, like riding on the skate park, it gets in my hair or my eyes all the time, so
Just get
probably cut it soon.
You should do the classic bowl cut where we get a mixing bowl and just plop it on your head and cut everything below it.
Nah, I would just cut it off.
We'll do that first and then we'll cut it
just
off.
shave
if
it.
you
I
don't
might just
like
take
it.
some little Fisker scissors, just cut it myself.
You should do a real mohawk.
No, I've done that before as well. It's gotta be something new. It's gotta be something different. Something different for me. Maybe Liberty Spikes.
Horizontal.
Liberty would be sweet. I got like enough hair for Liberty Spikes.
Do
Cool.
it with glue though, so that
yeah,
really
that so it stays. And it's just there forever.
Or what are the old
I'm
like
a Salt Laker. I know my punk hairstyles. Like I got it.
those medieval priests, how they just shave the middle of their head.
Yeah, the friar cut.
The friar cut. Yeah,
that'd be cool.
Corey
I used to
Anderson,
call it the Mr. Burns. I did it on one tour. I started growing my hair out here, and then I just shaved all the top right off. And I'm wearing a hat on stage most of the time because it holds, and so it didn't really matter. But I had a real solid, like it was starting to like hang down, and it was solidly clean on top.
Corey Anderson says, Kellen, just some constructive feedback. Go slower on the super chats. Well, thank you. Very constructive.
Yeah, that is constructive.
Bucky Ducky says, I just got here. Where the hell is Brett? No, he is at a special premiere with the red carpet and all the flair and people saying, Brett, what are you wearing? Who are you wearing? Yeah, he's at a premiere right now.
I bet $100 nobody asks what he's wearing. Not who he's wearing.
He's like a t-shirt.
Yeah. Fruit of the Loom.
Shane H. Wilder says, Phil, is a colored vinyl in the future?
Yes.
Sick. I would love to get a copy of that if you have one. I collect because people often make the misinference that like colored vinyl these days is bad. No, picture vinyl where you print a picture on the vinyl from back in the day is bad and it degrades over time very quickly. But a colored vinyl is equally good, if not cooler.
You just dye the actual material.
Right. They've gotten better material now. They can. You see, black ones are better because they would last longer. They had more like graphite or some kind of material inside the polyvinyl chloride, which is what they're made of. That lasts longer. Color vinyl is way cool now because it has the same fidelity and lasts just as long. Pro tip from a vinyl person.
Corey Anderson says, Serge, are you going to dredge your hair? It's cool you are a basketball American.
What? Dredge my hair?
Dread your hair. Like dreadlocks.
Oh, dread my hair?
Yeah.
Oh, nah.
It's pretty much there already.
Nah,
it's like one big dread.
Yeah, I don't really care to do that now. And my hair does like separate. Like everyone thinks my hair is like a monolith. My hair is not a monolith, guys. It's many strands of hair.
5 Against 8 says, Divine absolutely rips.
Thank you very much.
Been here since The Darkened Heart, and this is instantly a top 10 track for me.
Cheers.
Congrats to Phil and the team. Was also great seeing you and Jason on Nick's podcast.
Awesome, man. Cheers. Thank you. Nick Nocturnal, he's great. Shout out to Nick Nocturnal for having us on.
What was the show about?
He does music stuff. So it was we talked about the premiere of the song and talked about where the band came from and stuff, and then he did a reaction to the song a couple days later when it actually came out. So
sick.
Yeah.
Pat the Plumber says, in all fairness to Tom Brady, I'm from Boston. I don't know how. I feel like there's a follow-up that should have been there.
Maybe, but.
Jared Price says, Phil, thanks for the mini roast on the musicians. Yeah, it's jumping on me. I pull in from my Friday super chat with the assumption. Oh, we read that one.
Yeah, we got that one already.
Mr. Anderson said, I wasn't sure Kellen and Filbert could keep up the energy of the show. Thankfully,
fuck's that.
Thankfully, better value Bob Ross pulled through.
Oh, that's what it is.
That's me. I am not good at drawing.
That's a good one.
That's why I didn't.
You should just paint.
I don't draw.
That's what we should do. You know how there's the one guy that just eats but doesn't say anything on that one show. I can't remember.
Glenny Balls.
I think so. We should have someone that's just painting in the corner and doesn't say anything.
That'd be cool
for the whole show.
Token.
The Manic Mustache says, late as always in a pro pros to furries. I work in an alternative lifestyle club. Furries are the worst. We would charge double for drinks to cover the cleaning costs.
Yep.
Fun fact, BDSM the cleanest.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mistress Kelly.
Yep, because it directly relates to like their lifestyle and what the choice they're making. Furries are a
BDSM.
Yeah, because they want to be clean because they don't want to have diseases in it.
Yeah, because they don't
engage. They think of themselves as animals and they behave as such.
Yeah,
I'm not trying to say it's. I'm not speaking out of zero experience with these people. Like, I'm just telling you, it's the truth. And look, the proof is in the pudding. You can see it happen.
Mm-hmm.
Tacti Platty says, Phil, in Star Trek Disco, they had a male Trill, alien with slugs, played by a trans man actor, and his love interest was a non-binary character.
I hate it already.
Oh, wow.
The Rumbling says, the Star Trek Discovery show, trans the Trill species, like Phil said.
Yeah.
Phil, Semper Fi, and the new song rocks.
Hoorah, thank you very much.
Corey Anderson says, Trudeau is Jar Jar Binks. Screw them both.
Sith Lord.
Dude, you know they're doing...
I'm assuming Sith Lord. Yeah, that's what I think he's like. That's what he is, dude.
No, so Jar Jar Binks is going to be... they're going to do a dark Jar Jar Binks, like a Sith Jar Jar.
Yeah.
It's going to be played by an old football... Ahmed Best, I think his name is.
Wow.
I can't remember. But yeah, they're gonna do an animated
Oh, so they're
series.
making a black guy into the Sith Lord? I can't believe they're doing this.
Jar Jar historically was just the dummy.
Yeah, but then you watch the
Gungans,
movies
whatever.
and he like jumps up in the air and does double flips in the air and dives into the water and is always
hate it
doing
all.
these. It's all bad, dude. Yeah. However,
High
Sith Lord.
voltage. Serge, have any birds landed on your head, mistaking your hair for a nest?
no, no,
Except for that one time.
no. my hair's. I just have long hair. I know.
It's not even that long, dude. There's so many other people that work here that it's way longer than yours.
I know, and I wear my sunglasses like a lot, like during the daytime, so my hair's usually up like this, and it looks like
Andrew.
like whatever.
Andrew's is
Andrew
long.
makes long hair.
Richie.
Richie has long hair.
Yeah, Richie has
Richie's
long
got
hair.
Dennis.
crazy hair.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Corey Anderson says, when is it boys cast? It should be the breasts of the day, not cute of the day. Well, we had Sexy Red on here.
She's the opposite of sexy. Though.
yeah, I wouldn't. You know.
Yeah, she really does look like you could find her in most major cities.
Yeah.
She does not, like, I don't know what the obsession with her is. I don't get it.
Find her at the dump.
Yeah, me too. I don't care about her at all. I don't. Yeah. If that stops me from working with her in the future, good. I'm good.
Love you, Sexy Red.
Yeah.
That is all the super chats that I have. Thank you guys for putting up with my lackluster hosting abilities.
No, it's
I'm
great,
not quite Brent or Margie. I forget what her name was that he said.
Yeah, something like that.
Margie, something like that. But we're getting better with each time. Serge, is there anything you want to shout out?
Yeah, nothing really. I got some records coming out in the future, but nothing I can really comment on right now. If you want to go to my Bandcamp, it's Groove Inc. Groove INC at bandcamp.com, I think. Yeah, watch IRL. We got a good show tonight, like as usual. See you later.
Thanks for coming. We do have another super chat. Sydney Sweeney could have been cute of the day. Boys.
Sydney Sweeney is cute.
I do like that
true.
one. Phil?
I am Phil That Remains on Twix. I'm Phil That Remains Official on Instagram. The band is All That Remains. You can catch us on tour coming up August and September this year on the Destroy All Enemies tour with Megadeth and Mudvayne. You can stream our new single now. The single is called Divine. You can get it on Spotify, Apple Music, Pandora, Deezer or Dozer or whatever the hell it's called, Amazon and YouTube and stuff, the internet. And don't forget, the left lane is for crime.
Dude, I told that to someone. I was like, Phil always says the left lane is for crime, because I was stuck behind some really slow people on Sunday. You guys can follow me at Kellen PDL. Thanks for checking out the show today. I'll be back tomorrow with, I think, Serge, you'll be returning.
I think so.
And we'll have some other guests. Please tune in and have a good one, guys. See you later. Bye.